De mare.
Hello, and welcome, Africa Week 2020. This is our last panel of our second 1 week long, feels like 2 weeks, 1 week long family reunion. And guess who is holding this panel? If you've been following us since our last reunion, all the way through this one, you have heard me and Dima say to Joey Zaza, "Where's your panel, man? Where's your panel? When are you going to come sit down?" And Joey Zaza, when he joined us, he came in hot and he says, "I'm in it. I'm with the family. I'm going to do something." And here it is.
Yes,
it is. And he is here with friends, DJ John Wayne, and I'll have you all introduce yourselves in just a minute. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited. I'm going to bow out and watch you from behind the scenes, but I'm so excited for this. Let's do it.
All right. Let me start it off. Joey Zaza, also known as the Cacique, that means the chieftain. Today, what we're hoping to talk about is hip hop, not just as a music, as a movement, as a lifestyle, as a voice, as a tool, as a business, but all trying to see how we can push it in a positive manner. Not saying that it's going completely negative, but I want to see, how the brothers who are very knowledgeable right there, you know what I mean? So you guys can go around one by one, introduce yourselves and tell everybody what you do.
No doubt. DJ John Wayne, aka Ya Tu Sabe, for y'all don't know. Born in Puerto Rico, raised in Brooklyn, came back to Puerto Rico. Always been involved in hip hop culture since I was very young in all aspects. I always loved all the different aspects of hip hop in general. Always down for the cause, man. That's all I can say. So when Joey gave us the opportunity, I called Brujo, our boy Tony Smith back there. And yeah, we're here to talk about hip hop, man, and culture.
Before we go any further, I gotta say, Brujo, it's been a while, man. It's good to see your face, brother.
It's good to see you. For those who
Tony, it's been a long while. It's been like 2 weeks. I haven't seen your face, bro.
The name is Zulu King Master Roski. For those that get to tune in right now, I am a Zulu King of the official organization that ran the hip hop culture in the early moments when it began, and I'm still here around. I haven't let this go. I've always been kicking in with it, and been most happy to spend this time here tonight with you and let people know what they need to know about this culture that we.
Can you let it go? Can you? I don't think you can, bro. Well, I lost them. Hopefully they'll come back. How you doing? Those are the tech gremlins. They don't want to hear what we have to say.
The tech gremlin. Where is the tech gremlin banner? There it is. They're back. They're back.
All right.
Yes, welcome back.
He's back. Sorry, I'm over here pressing buttons. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut his fingers off. Leave it for DJ. Going back where I was at, as I was introducing myself, the name is Zulu King Master Roski. I'm one of first generation Zulus since '73, representing hip hop. keeping kids away from street drugs and gangs, giving them the positive message to uplift themselves and prepare themselves for what's incoming in the future.
Let me ask you something real quick before we continue. You say first generations. How many generations are they up to now?
Well, when it comes to generations, people try to speak of various things, but when you're allowed to generate yourself, all right, generate yourself, people normally count every 10 years as a generation. So when the 70s came in and hip hop was more or less moved at 73, when it was
like the fifth.
blessed by Africa Bambaataa at that time. He's the godfather that was recognized as the one that, although hip hop existed in different aspects, or at least each element that is manifested. I keep telling a lot of people that graffiti didn't come in when people held a spray paint can in their hand, because cavemen were doing picture writing from the beginning of time. And all of these different dance moves that are brought in, whether they are acrobatic movements or cultural dances from different Indian tribes, are being repeated, manifested in a different time throughout our street dances today.
Very true.
As when it comes to music, we just see how a simple turntable was turned into a musical instrument, because when you can scratch, when you can bring it back, break it down, whatever you want to do with it, you're doing something new with an entire record that was based on a certain bass line, but you took it to your level and you expressed a different type of beat.
It was always an instrument.
To a point where it's recognized in Berkeley College of Music as an instrument.
It is a musical instrument, exactly.
Yes, it is.
That's true. Yes. And then the ability of a person to be able to express poetry and have a bass line with it, which is rap. You understand? It's the lyrics that you speak, that you bless other people's mind with. You let them know what is inside your heart, your soul, what you have lived through, and how your life has brought either blessings or difficult moments, but you express them throughout your poetry, and you let other people know what's in your heart and soul as an artist.
Yes. Yes. Tony.
Say something, Tony.
Peace.
Peace. What's going on, Tony? Introduce yourself, man.
Peace and blessings. This is Tony Smith of James Witt Yancey Foundation, aka J Dilla Foundation. All right. Also Vintage 5 Music Group. We've moved my Dukes, J Dilla's mother, down here to Agua de Puerto Rico. Yes, so we're surrounded by greatness and original hip hop heads. So we're sitting here down doing the best that we can to keep the culture of J Dilla alive.
Facts.
Definitely. Let me go back. I got a whole bunch of stuff written down. You know what I mean? We're gonna be all over the place like ping pong balls, man. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
But let me go back to this. This is just a quick thought I had earlier on when I was writing down ideas as far as graffiti, the 4 elements, graffiti, DJ, MC, and B-boy. And this is how I see, and I want to see what you guys think about it afterwards, right? This is how I see that we've actually put together us hip hop, right? Because for those of you who are watching live, for those of you who will watch this, later on, hip hop is something you live. Rap is something you are doing.
Yep.
You are a carpenter, but you are hammering a nail. Two different, you know what I'm saying? It has to do with one, but one's in action and one is your what it is that you do. Okay? So this is how I see it, right? Graffiti, we're just a continuation of the original scribes. You had royalty that couldn't read or write. They needed scribes. They needed us to put down the ancient scriptures, because everything was passed down word of mouth and through song. And the scribes are the one that actually put it in a way where multiple people can feed off of it. You know what I'm saying? And continue that knowledge forward. And I say scribes as far as graffiti, not just because we're writing and we call ourselves writers, but we give a story. Forbid It Happens, right? If you pick a beach, whatever beach, and something happens with a surfer, forbid it happens, you know what I mean, that he drowns there or whatever, you know darn well that in less than 24 hours, you got yourself a mural with the beach, that same beach with the water and with the face of a surfer. You know what I'm saying? So we're giving the news of what happened in a piece of art.
Culture, of course.
With letters, and letters is very, very important when it comes to graffiti. You know what I mean? I appreciate all the crazy colors and all of that stuff, but the letters is very important. If you can't even catch a tag, how can you put up a piece? Right? Let me go down the list real quick. The DJs, to me, are like the original drum players, the conductors, the clave, like the clave. We're going, me as an MC, I'm always looking for what John used to do because John was the DJ.
Indeed.
You see what I'm saying? So once again, as a drum player in let's say something like an areito, you know what I mean? You're taking the pace, you're taking the emotion, you're carrying everything. You're like a human schedule. You know what I'm saying? Boom. MCs are the storytellers. We're the historians.
True indeed.
You know, we're throwing it forward. We're throwing that story forward, and the b-boys are the one who actually invoke the emotions within all of this going on. Within this areto, within this bambula, within the party. You know what I mean? He's the one invoking it. You can tell if a song is hype or not by the way the b-boy is going at it. You know what I'm saying? And this is just, maybe it's a coincidence, but maybe I'm wrong. But I don't know of many ancient cultures, but a lot of them, when they would do their dances, they do it in a circle. What's the first thing a b-boy does when they're about to build that floor? They open up a circle. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, going back to what you were saying before, there's nothing new. Graffiti's nothing new. DJ's nothing new. MC's nothing new. We just found a way. I'm not even gonna say we. It's more Broski, your generation that had the mind to put it together and build it. You know what I mean? I'm from the generation after that. I was born in 75, so there's a piece that I missed. You know what I mean? So fill us in, bro. What you think about that?
Well, I wouldn't say you missed it. I say you were blessed and inspired by it, because here you are today. And that's what matters. See, the vision of producing this culture was not to leave it within the people who founded it or brought it up in the early 70s, but to have it bless other people in the future and have them feel motivated into carrying it on. Because if I were to believe that since I am a founder of the culture, it's all mine, and I would be selfish with it, when I die, the culture goes to the grave with me. This is a torch that I must pass on to the incoming generations. And whether I was an excellent b-boy, rapper, DJ, or graffiti artist, it is a time where I must pass it on to the next generation so they can inspire their children and later on keep blessing others with this gift that we received that set our minds free.
That's peace. That's peace. I mean, I agree. I always felt like I missed something. Me considering myself from the second generation, because it's like, I think we spoke on this earlier. No matter where I can graffiti wherever, do black books, paint a tower, paint an ugly ass Trump tower from top to bottom. But I'm always gonna feel like I missed out on the running into the train tracks and doing a train. You know what I mean? Or
if you want me to answer you where I'm at,
movie, until the first time I saw dudes like really battling b-boying in a train station. Dude, true, all right, I was maybe like 10, and you're impressed with almost anything when you're 10. But dude, that to me was like, yo, what? This happens, B? You know, that emotion, and it's like,
yeah.
How about the first time you ever been to
by not being in that position, like I missed out on something.
The first time being in a block party for me was like, wow, really, really, and I was really young, maybe like 8 years old, around there. And just seeing everybody together, having fun, the music, the people, the movement. I was really too young. I was, always running around in the crib, listening to my parents have music and little parties in the house, which were really dope too, But seeing it outside with the people, it impacted me, and I wanted to be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how, but I knew I was in some type of way.
When was the first time you touched a turntable?
Wow. I was like I
like
was like
100 years
11,
ago.
11 or 12. I would just play with it when they were off because they used to be in my uncle's house. So I would go to stay over when I was young, but sometimes they wouldn't be playing and I wouldn't be there. So when they would be like, encandilado por ahí, I would go and touch them and just, think I was DJing all young and like, look at me, whatever. So then one day they were actually there spinning and they dozed off to the side and I went on the table and I actually started like not scratching, but moving it. And I made a mix. It was by mistake, but they gassed me like it came out dope. I didn't even really know the difference if it was blended right or nothing. I was just, trying to gas myself. And they were like looking at each other. Oh, let me find out. Little nigga got skills. Whatever. They gassing me hard. You already. So I felt like, forget it. You already know, bro. That was like the top for me. So I wanted that feeling. It's funny because when you actually DJ and you have that feedback from the crowd, that's what actually gives you. I feel like I was young in the freaking house with my uncles again. You know what I'm saying? That's the pleasure out of it when people can actually say, yo, dope. Like if you're the type of person that you're arrogant about yourself, and I know certain people do things good and they're great, but to me the better pleasure is somebody telling you that you're good than you bragging about that you're good.
Let me ask you something. I pretty much know the answers. We've spoken about this before. I just wanna. You know how I am. I'm an instigator. I like to agitate shit. Oh, everybody out there, man, I got a real potty mouth. I'm sorry. It's well intended. I call them sentence enhancers. Just
that's the martial arts.
There's knowledge up here. It just comes out abruptly. But all right, check this out. I've always had appreciation for all the elements, right? For all the elements. But check this out. I've always noticed that people in education, I've always noticed, and I've never really liked this, but it's the way you set it up for as far as I understand, as far as security and all of that and the equipment. But usually up on stage, not what you see in the videos, not what you hear in the song, but up on stage, the DJ almost plays the background.
Mm-hmm.
How, I don't know which one of you three could answer it, but how did that, once again, part of my French, how did that bullshit start when it was the DJ that started it all? How did he go from being the first one to bring it, the front dude, to Money in the Back? You know what I'm saying? If you can break that down.
What I've seen as far as like what I've seen of other,
it makes sense, though, right? It makes sense what I'm saying.
It does make sense. What it was is that when it was hip hop, if you came to see, it was a lot about breaks. So when it was the DJs before, they were doing disco, and you know what I'm saying, they was playing music. So when the MC came into play, they started doing the back to back, what they used to call the merry-go-round, like at the Flash used to call it, and all that. That they started looping the records back and forth. So that's when the MC really thought, okay, I could do it. Because when it was party music, they weren't gonna rap because the people were actually partying. So he's like, oh, okay, now let's stop the party. Yo, I got something to say. So he got to come to the front of the stage so the people can hear him. That's how I see it. You know what I'm saying?
So I can see that. I can see how the MC to a point took the front line, but there's not a true MC in the history, past, present, and future. There's not an MC in the history, a true MC that doesn't put his DJ first. Yo, my DJ. My DJ hooked this beat up.
You will hear that.
As we say in Spanish, se van de culo, mano, que el DJ de ellos es el mejor.
And DJ is, you would hear constantly.
That's true. I made mad songs about that DJ too.
The reason why maybe you don't hear that much today, because since some people are working with more technology on conducting their own beats, making their own beats or buying beats, and they don't give any props to DJs. And due to the point that as we were talking off air some while back, you noticed that I immediately throw the dart to the people who will buy people who are willing to sell out. And when you're willing to sell out, what you do is you take away the foundation that got you there in the first place. And when you start spitting on everything that blessed you, and you sell out to a certain contract, or as we would say, the devil who buys you out and plays you out, and after he wastes your money, and you make it to the top of the mountain, what's at the other side of the top of the mountain? Downward. And once you're used and abused, they ditch you, and they're waiting for the next talent to show up.
Culture vultures.
Tony, you look like you're ready to explode, Tony.
I'm sorry if I got raw, but
Tony knows all about that.
Nah, brother, you're doing exactly what I wanted you to, exactly what we need, bro. It's not about what people want, it's about what they
You
need.
gotta watch out for those culture vultures. They're alive
Tony,
and well.
you look like you're ready to blow up, man. What's up?
What's that?
You look like you had something to say, like you're ready to explode, bro.
Man, if I gotta tell you about like the whole Jay Dilla experience, man, it just
lay it on.
Man, I mean, like I said, like with everybody with Dilla, you know, the album Donuts is one of the most incredible albums that was actually put out for everybody, and everybody always.
For those who don't know, can you give a quick history on Jay Dilla and who he is? For those who don't know that's watching this.
What was that?
So you can say who Jay Dilla is.
Yeah, for those who don't know, who are watching this, give a quick history on Jay Dilla, please.
Jay Dilla, James DeWitt Yancey from Detroit, one of the creators of Neo Soul, producer of Farside, Common, Erykah Badu, The Roots, Tribe Called Quest. He's done so much music under different variations of names that people get it so confused on the difference between Jay Dilla or JD, which back in the days, the 90s and early 2000s, he went by JD, and that's when you'll find all the Grammy-nominated hits that he produced for a lot of people. You know, like I said, Erykah Badu and Common, their most prominent songs was done by Dilla, and also the Janet Jackson song, Got Till It's Gone, Grammy-nominated music. I mean, Dilla went through a trial, tribulations, and back. So it was a lot of things that happened. But what we did within the last 5-6 years, his wife and I, which is his mother, that's my wife, we have done something that has helped out with the education of who James DeWitt Yancey, Jay Dilla is, like getting his MPC and his custom-made move into the Smithsonian in DC.
Yes.
We had, thank you. We've been working on the educational side with the youth, youth engagement, because as adults, we've had everything catered towards us as adults, because as you're over 40, over 50, we are hip hop. So the thing of it is how are we at our age giving back to the youth? And if we're not giving back to the youth, we're just stuck in a rut, because it's something that I always say to people. It's like when some people are not giving back to the youth, I call it the Peter Pan effect, because everybody wants to stay young themselves, but yet how is an adult actually growing up if they're still carrying the Peter Pan effect? So you know they're not being able to educate behind them, because they're still learning themselves. But at the same time, it's good to see people gravitate towards the album Donuts, because there's a lot of controversy behind that Donuts, and I'm pretty sure everybody by now has seen that lawsuit with Netflix on the Dave Chappelle special 2017, that, you know, the lawsuit on that song, Working on It, that Dave had on his the beginning of the Netflix special. So, you know, we're dealing with things like that, you know, stuff that's not our fault, but yet it was someone who, let's just say, in this particular industry, culture vultures can do a lot of damage. And most time people should pay attention to who Talib Kweli was talking about, or who maybe certain record labels is talking about. Certain people do certain things in the industry that locks the growth of our hip hop culture down, because we sold hip hop out a long time ago.
You know what?
So it's now that because we're older and we want to use the one thing that we love as a tool, but it's so gentrified right now that we don't even have a grasp of our own culture to sit back and educate our youth with. So we have to come up with new programs to sit back and give back to our youth, and plus give back to ourselves of getting back to our own culture.
Yes, sir.
Check this out. Dr. J said once, I forgot where it was that I saw it. He said, it's called the music business. You got music.
It's the music business. It's not, you know, it's entertainment, but this is the music business.
So you agree with that? 100%, right?
Have to.
How do we go back to the music part of the business?
Going back to the music part of the business,
owning your own masters.
Exactly. I've been teaching John that one too. It's like it's going back to the point of, but technically speaking,
yeah,
it was not called hip hop when it was the best time. It was only called hip hop when it became commercialized.
All right.
So by being commercialized, at what point did we start selling out our culture? So is that a normal traditional type of thing that we do once someone shows us acknowledgement in our own culture? Do we always sell out some form of way?
Well, let me ask you something, because you guys have a few more winters under your coat than I do, right? Now I'm
exactly.
You know what I mean? But was there a sign? Where, and what I'm gonna say is probably gonna piss off a lot of people, but that's what I do. You know what I mean? Those who have ever seen me on stage, that's what I do. I piss people off. So was there ever a sign where you said, things from here on out are gonna change and not for good? There was, let me break this down. Check it out. For me personally, it was, and it hurts me to say, it was when Dre signed Eminem.
Ooh.
Okay, but I'm gonna go a little further back.
Check this out. Because it's not because he's white. Because we've had people nobody can front on MC Search. MC Search paid his dues on the mic, like all of us should do, no matter what color. You gotta pay your dues and show you deserve to have that mic. Because the way I see it, if I have the microphone, you listening to me, you're giving me your attention. You're giving me your brain span. I am responsible for 3 minutes of your life. You know what I mean? So I got to do as much as I can with it. You know what I mean? So he paid his dues. I always saw the whole thing with Eminem as a gimmick. No, I'm not taking away the fact that he has skills, but that was not our voice. That was not our voice and not our message. I'm not saying not to do it, but to have somebody like Dre that paved the way for a lot of other shit, do that. To this day, if I'm going to spend good money on audio equipment, I don't buy beats, I buy bows.
I have a question for you, Zaza. Do you remember back in the days when people used to break dance on cardboard? That's where it started.
I got a couple of burns on my shoulder.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And what did they change the cardboard floor for? Linoleum with black and white squares on it. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Wow. The culture was already.
You want to talk about things that sell out? If you want to talk about things that sell out, that's basically what's going on. When you saw the rich and powerful try to get a hold of this culture because they saw there was money in it. This is something that came from the humble people that was bringing it up together. And when they saw that you can probably take graffiti as an art form to some museum and buy it at a cheap price from the artist and exploit it elsewhere, they were pimped out. When you saw the people that were breakdancing on floors changed it for a Masonic, because I just can't hide it. A Masonic black and white floor that on these floors, for those who study this culture.
Whoop, te me fuiste. All right, hopefully the brothers will be back. Everybody who's out there watching this, I hope you're getting a lot of knowledge. These brothers are very knowledgeable. Write in, let us know any questions you may have. Alexandra, is it getting crazy enough?
You have Do Me Right saying, "What up, Tony Smith?" And you have Hector Adabal Rodriguez. I don't have an accent.
Hey. Yeah, somebody's a Maelo fan.
We're sorry we lost that one.
Sorry.
We're back at you, but
that's so intense. You know.
Sorry, girl.
I have no problem with this happening due to the point that I've come out on different radio stations, and I'm a straight out activist as a Zulu, and I do whatever I can to bring truth. And I've seen radio stations shut down after I leave from there. They've never gone back on air because people have gone there and said, "Yo, we don't want that cat there anymore because he's giving names, he's giving last names, and he's saying what this and that person has done," because I do not hide. I speak the truth.
Controversial.
I'll tell
it's
you
all-
what,
it's all-
you're in good company. You belong at Africa Week 2020.
That's dope.
I have my black roots inside of me.
Amen.
Because Puerto Ricans were mixed with Taino Indians, black and Hispanic or Spaniards when they came in, and they, as we say, they did not discover Puerto Rico. Christopher Columbus invaded Puerto Rico because there was already people here with a culture. So what did they bring? Gonorrhea. What did they bring? All types of sicknesses. Slavery. The only blessings that we got from them, the only blessings that within slavery, the Taino Indian and the black man that was bought also here were the first people to touch America. Because when we were sold as slaves in different places, remember, Christopher Columbus ran around in the 1400s, and the people that came from Europe hit Plymouth Rock in the 1600s. So we were 200 years there before they were, and they're telling us we're not American. We're stronger Americans than they were because we were already mixed with all the Native
Alexandra,
Indians.
I'm actually keeping them calm.
No,
I have them on a
They
leash.
were running away. They were running away from
You don't
King
need to be
George.
calm. This is the end of Africa Week 2020. Burn it down.
Bring it down. Bring it down now.
I mean, I'm sorry if I sound like I'm a little bit on fire, but where truth must be spoken, it has to be spoken.
Let's
But
bring
this
it
is-
back on this, because this needs to be.
This is the thing. You haven't seen Africa Week 2020 stuff yet, so I'm going to encourage all of you when you're
Yeah, I actually have.
bored, when you're in the tub, when you're doing it, whatever. Come back through Africa Week 2020 videos and listen to some of the stuff that's going on. You're in good company.
I actually have.
You
That's
found a new
beautiful. That's
family
great.
here.
We were
Thank
just
you, thank
listening
you
to
so
the
much.
colonization one just now before this.
Yeah. And the one
All
with
right,
Joey's
so-
mom also.
Brujo, for you, it was the black and white linoleum. That was the
that's what he
sign
ended
that things are going. I only remember pictures of that linoleum because I learned how to b-boy on cardboard, and the linoleum that I finally got to use was in Puerto Rico, and it was so messed up, I'd rather dance on cement. Honestly.
I'd rather break my back on cement too. Even though I'm a little too old for breakdancing, I still pop, but, you know. Hey.
Tony and John, man, what was the sign for you?
The sign for what?
The sign that it showed us was that the elite were trying to empower themselves with the culture, and they wanted to use these young ghetto kids with great talent with poverty. You offer them a few dollars, and then you got a dancing slave for you. Because if you look at the history of people who became multimillionaires, and you look at the people who taught them, if you look at the history of Michael Jackson, may he rest in peace, he was taught by Pop and Taco, and he was also taught by Boogaloo Shrimp.
Right.
And that is foundation. And these guys don't even have half of the income that he received.
B-boys are like the lowest paid people, you know what I mean, in hip hop, isn't it? Like within the four cultures.
Yeah, it is.
And if you look at the movies that come out today that are so-called dance movies, they're getting their dance steps from ghetto kids. Yeah. And they're pumping it up on the screen like if they're the ones that got the talent.
B Street,
I mean, let them bring it down to the hood where we really bop the way we do, and then you won't see them get served for real.
Now, going to your question about what it was for me, honestly, it's something similar to what you said about Eminem, but it was with the Beastie Boys. I seen like they were like two. I don't want to say the word, you know, but they weren't like. That's what I say, and they have skills. They're dope MCs, the Beastie Boys. Don't get me wrong.
Is that there was like
commercialized? Yeah, they commercialized them a lot.
And let's not go Beastie Boys. Run DMC. Yo, you're talking to a one true Zulu who knew where you came from. Where then you took the music that you produced that was a hardcore, steady beat, and you mixed it in with a rock beat when you went off with Aerosmith, and you took your music elsewhere. Mm-hmm. You took your music where you would cash in for it, not bring it back to the ghetto. Because when you come out of the ghetto and you are blessed with something and you can bring that blessing to a higher level, you bless the ghetto right back with it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've had this conversation with other people, and I've heard the argument, not an argument, they just stated something. And though I don't agree 100%, I had to give them some type of props. And it was, well, they did what they had to do what they felt they had to do at the moment to get this out to the masses. And thanks to that, we actually have platforms today to show our skills. But on the other side of that same thing, if it didn't go as commercial, because I think the masses can hear you without you having to go commercial. You know, but like what we were talking about before, as far as commercial music, sometimes it's not just the taste, it's the resonance of the vibration of the music and whether or not it goes with your body and your lifestyle.
Not only that, it rubs off in the wrong way to the kids too. Like, you know, I know it's different times, but when we was coming up to a whole different era of hip hop. It was a lot of raw hip hop. It was real hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
You had to prove yourself back then.
It changed from a message that was being brought out through in the culture to then a bling bling shake your booty hip hop. And I got the flyest ride. And what it taught people was that in order to get the money, like to achieve that status, you had to sell out. And that's what happened. Everybody just fell into that loop.
I think one of my favorite songs in hip hop will always be The Message. And I was young, and it really was a message. Me being young, hearing what he was trying to say, I didn't really get it when I was at that age. But growing up, and I actually would like learn the song. That's a powerful record, bro. Very powerful record. And the video also.
For me, it was Know the Ledge from Rakim.
Ooh, yes, classic.
We could go on and on. I don't want to go into the record business, saying which is the flyest record, but there's a lot of stuff out there.
I mean, the one to that.
Yeah, they touch you. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Tony.
Some people don't like the way Sally walks.
Right.
Tony, was there a sign for you, and what was it?
For me, geez. It's so many. It's just so many because, like I said, once hip hop became corporate, everything turning left, right, backwards, forward. It was just throughout. So
it made it grimy.
I mean, that's when it really gave the meaning of underground at that particular point, because a lot of stuff became so commercialized, and if people wanted to make a career out of the entertainment business, you had to do some form of selling out. You had to do what we call as hip hop heads, we had to call it was called crossover. So then everybody had to learn what crossover really meant as an entertainer in the business. So you can get ridiculed for being a crossover artist, but then at the same time, you want to live in this particular culture. So you have to make a conscious decision. So it made you become an outsider within the actual culture, or sometimes you might just have to start and go back to educate the people on what it is to fend for yourself in this particular business.
So let me ask you a quick question. Any one of you three can answer. Something like using a different type of sample. You know what I mean? Basically, let me see how I can phrase this. Where is the line between crossing over with another genre of music and innovation mixing with? Did that make sense?
It shouldn't be no problem at all. We're entertainers. The moment that stuff becomes limited, those are your haters who are really controlling everything. Because if we are in the business of creativity, who's putting a limitation on what we should be able to do? There's somebody doing that, and plus, we don't have enough power within our own culture to make the proper changes that we need to do. Because we've spent our money towards our culture vultures and towards our enemies to sit back and make ourselves look good, bling bling wise or whatever it was, have the biggest house. But next thing you know, how fast do we lose all of that integrity? How fast do we lose our integrity nowadays?
Yeah, it's like I love, because there's a million reasons why, but what I love most about Bob Marley, though we're going outside of hip hop, is the fact that by the time he died, I think 400 people had a salary thanks to him and Tough Gong Records.
That's what's up.
Exactly.
Dude,
How many
deep.
people he employed?
That's
what it's all about.
That's deep. Shouldn't we be doing something like that? And what can we do?
We can do it, but the thing of it is, technology has already got us crippled that we snitching on ourselves. We're automatic rats. We can't keep a secret.
Okay.
We don't know how to stay off. We don't know how to stay off of their technology, which is what's doing it to us. As long as we stay on their technology, we will stay a crippled nation.
So okay. So there's no way of using social media to actually push the. Because I understand what you're saying. I mean, anybody can do music now, however they want. You know what I mean? With the auto tune and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Exactly. Anybody can do it. This is
so that means there's no use for a DJ, right? That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. Because what you're telling me is,
John, if I
back
were you,
in the
I'd be
days
mad.
when I grew up, it was me. I'm the rapper and my DJ right behind me. But now you don't hear nobody saying "and my DJ" because they're pushing buttons.
They saying it in auto tune.
Yep.
Auto tune.
So
I saw a message. Auto tune should be a genre.
So that word. So this takes me back to something I wanted to talk about, and it's as far as there's so freaking much. All right, boom. when the culture, when the art itself, the expression, let me put it like that, when the expression itself, right, was brought forth, it was brought forth with standards.
Yep.
Be original.
Quality.
Don't bite. You know what I mean?
Don't bite.
Because using a sample of something is not the same thing as biting it.
Exactly.
You know, why is it that somehow or another there was a tolerance created to where everybody's forced to accept it? But this is hip hop the way it is now.
The record sales,
You know,
Bobby, that's
let's
it.
be real, dude. You know what? And this is gonna offend a lot of people, and I apologize. It's just my personal opinion. It's nothing personal. It's just as somebody who does the music, dude. Things like trap, things like drill, things like reggaeton. When hip hop was in its strongest, all three of those people would have gotten laughed off the stage. If you would have gotten up on stage literally showing your ass with your pants under your butt, you probably would have gotten thrown off the stage.
Indeed.
You would have had different color hair, they would have thrown you off the freaking stage, B, because it's like, this isn't about clowning. This is about skills. MCing is a boasting competition. Who can boast better? I'm going to boast about my hat. You're going to boast about your hat. Let's see who can do it harder, better, and more clever.
Ask them how many of them have gone to an open mic battle.
Let me say, history repeats itself in hip hop, as in probably all arts you got to live. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to show people in hip hop how to live, not how to survive. Because right now we're surviving around nonsense. Just like the news, we're surviving around nonsense. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, we got too loud.
No, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a lot of men in this room, and I wonder, were there women on the scene at all? Or women?
Oh yeah,
sure. Yeah. That's who we was doing it for. We was doing hip hop for the ladies. Think about it. Nowadays, there's too many dudes at hip hop shows with their pants down. It's a different culture.
Yes,
hip hop is something that's always. You have to forgive me because I don't know a lot about hip hop, and that is mainly because of some of the stuff you're talking about. I didn't grow up in this country. By the time I got to this country, I was 15, and the hip hop I was exposed to hates black women. It's about black men hating black women in the way they're talking about them. Well, I never got into hip hop, right? So this is my question for you: Was there real love for women in hip hop when you guys
of course,
up, or
they're queen. They're
we
queen.
just use you?
It depends on the group.
Can I grab that one real quick? Let me grab something real quick. To this day, within real MCs, real hip hop heads, people that are true to the culture that live it, we love when a female MC comes out.
True indeed.
If you only want to pick one thing, most women in hip hop actually have other people writing for them, have a dude writing for them. So that image of check me out, look at the parts of my body, don't even worry about what the fuck I'm saying. That's a dude making money off of. But whenever a woman comes out, all we have to know as a hip hop lover, as a hip hop fiend, as a hip hop junkie, give it to me right here. All we have to know is, yo, that lady, she writes her own rhymes. I'm not gonna take 5 minutes. I'm already looking for her album. Look at them. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's true. It's true what Sandy just said. That she said in our time of hip hop, the women were rapping about empowering women.
True indeed.
You know, and that's real stuff, bro. Queen Latifah. There's so many.
They were waking us up. Yo, get off the corner, get a job, get education.
Exactly.
Move. Oh shit.
And now it's more about shaking their butt and freaking in the strip club or whatever.
That's when you see that the music industry was sold out as a prostitute, due to the point that the people that brought money in took away the beautiful vision that we had of all the women, whether they were black, white, Hispanic, doesn't matter. We were looking at their talent, at their mentality, and not what other people would look at. That later on, instead of listening to their lyrics, they dropped a bikini on them and they put them on a video shaking their butt. That's the entire. That's when they have taken this culture and have sold it out like a whore. And those are the people, these culture vultures that I deeply hate, because that was not the vision of bringing this culture up forward. It wasn't about the money. It was about saving the children. It was about getting them educated, getting the kids off the street, drugs and gangs, about blessing them and giving them a positive tomorrow, because the government wasn't helping us, because the government was too much into racism, because the government was too much into stealing the funds that they were supposed to give out to the people. And since the people wasn't receiving it, we had to give them something to understand that there was a reason to live through.
Yeah.
I still remember, if you had a party and you had to go to a municipality, there's a graduation, there's this, there's that, there's a quinceañero, which is like a sweet 16, but except for 15, right? And yeah, no problem. Here's the keys. Yeah, just clean up. Yeah, I'm gonna do a party. What kind of party? They look at you with the baggy jeans. Hip hop. Yo, we're gonna need this much for the security. We're gonna need this much. And yes, ma'am. Yes, man. And I wouldn't be surprised if to this day, the only thing is now reggaeton is privileged, because they know they can make money off of reggaeton. So don't worry about the permits. I'll fill out the paperwork for you. Just come on in. Yeah, bring them in.
They call it Caribbean music.
And they call it Caribbean hip hop, and they're mistaken. First of all,
that is not hip hop. Reggaeton.
They've been using the same beat for plus 20 years. They got no creativity. Aside of that beat was practically ripped off from some Jamaicans that brought it to Puerto Rico. So obviously, then you got a different artist with the same message. Let's smoke weed, let's screw up the girl next door, and let's shoot the guy next door. That's the only thing they got. They got no positive message. Hip hop was founded with positivity. And these scumbags, because excuse me for saying it straight out, but they ain't worth crap to me. And when they have gone to the events that we do, I walk on by when they standing there. When they're looking at all the talent that we got, I don't even cross words with them, because anybody who does not have a positive vision for the incoming children should be set out in the sun so he can dry up like a leaf.
One thing that if there's 1,001 things, but one thing, if I was to make a difference between reggaeton venues, not the albums, not the song, the actual venues where they do the concerts, right? Compare a reggaeton concert and a hip hop convention, where you have all four elements representing hard, and only the hardest of the hardest junkies go there, you know what I mean, to get their hip hop fix. The reggaeton venue is all about putting your hands on the female. I dare anybody to go to a hip hop convention where true old school OG hip hop heads are there, dudes that live the life, that don't just fucking listen to it on YouTube, that actually live that life. Put your hand on a female's ass in the middle of a hip hop convention. See what's going to happen to you.
See what's going to happen to you. When I'm there, see what's going to happen to you. See if you have a hand after that.
I don't know how they do in other places in PR. They won't find you, bro. You know what I'm saying?
It's true what Bruno said. It's true what he said about, like, you know, all right, you have different genres even in hip hop, because you have your boom bap, you got your street rap, you know what I'm saying? You got your conscience rap, all being hip hop and all credentially, you know, good. I like street rap too. I like all the genres of rap. Now, it's one thing of you taking it serious. Like sometimes I see that to be like a movie. You go to see a movie, it's a horror movie. You know, you're gonna see blood. You know, you're gonna see sex. You know, you're gonna see all that stuff. That's a big genre of movies. People love that music, that type of movie, and it sells. So why wouldn't they want to do it in hip hop? You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people, you know, the same thing like Bruce said over and over. Oh, I shoot you this, or I sell drugs, or I got these shorties, or you know, that it could get dull after a while. It depends how you say it or whatever. But I see it as
because
like that.
The clever aspect was lost. Somewhere along the line, the audience started tolerating mediocrity.
And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
You know why? It's all very simple. It is much more easier to cripple a force of many people united in a positive vision. It is more important to cripple them, because if you can divide them, and let's go a little smooth. Let's say the Biggie and Tupac detail. When you look at the East Coast and the West Coast, they were bonding together, and the people on more higher positions see that as the incoming threat. Let's go back, as if they saw the Black Panther movement, as if they saw so many other movements that have been coming up strong. And remember that this culture that we call hip hop was more based on more Hispanic and Black people being together. Okay, because this is the people that made it strong.
And Black. Thank you. There are a lot of people who don't accept that.
Oh no!
Even in Puerto Rico. Oh, that's not ours. That belongs to Black folk and people in New York. What happens? What are you saying? There used to be a hard movement in Puerto Rico. That's how we know each other.
True indeed. True indeed, because of the foundation that we bought within ourselves. So what happens with this culture, when you have people being able to divide it, because when they started this East Coast, West Coast thing, what did you do? You divided a whole bunch of people that were probably a strong standing force against a corrupt government in the near future that was not giving them their funds, that was not giving them their welfare, that was probably leaving people with no type of medical programs. Because within hip hop, it's a cry out letting people know what goes on in life. Because there are some rappers that will talk about booty, but somebody else is going to talk to you about where he grew up, how times was rough, and how you got to stand up to get to the top. So when you have people holding you down or dividing you, okay, right now, I remember the last time I looked up at how many members were part of the Zulu Nation. The last time I looked up, which was years back, was like 1.5 million. That sounds like a lot of people. But then again, how many of those stand true? How many of those hold on to the vision of passing on the gift that they received? If they received this gift and this vision, what are you doing with that beautiful tool? Do you have it thrown away in the garbage? Is it in your drawer? Is it under your bed? Get it out. And if you can't do nothing with it, give it to somebody who will.
Hey,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you know what? That's what I found so far on this platform, Africa Week 2020. That's what I found. You get to weed out people, weed out the garden. You know what I mean? A lot of people can talk, but who can walk the walk? You know what I mean? You can talk jive until you're blue in the face. It doesn't make you a Smurf. You know what I'm saying? Tony, what's up? Hit me with something.
Tony.
What was that?
Hit me with something, man. What can we do to change this? What can we do to change hip hop and the way it's going? Because let's be real, we got to change it. It's got to be changed.
We are changing it. First, it's got to start within ourselves. If we don't change within ourselves, we're going to keep on allowing the corruption to happen because we don't have a platform or we don't have a system in place to really give a change for. So it's just like John and I always talk about, just like with the streaming platform. We had the analogy, both of us were sitting there talking about okay, on the streaming platforms, you got to get 1 million streams to get $1,200, right? John and I sat back was like, well, real hustlers to sit back and ask 1,200 people for $1. So why am I putting in so much work with these streaming platforms that's really raping me, that's taking advantage of us as an actual culture, and compared to what we always educated in hip hop about saying hustling out the trunk of your car, which is basically saying having your own .com of yourself, telling everybody to go to your own website. We got to get back to educating people about your own identity to be able to create a platform. But we got it back to where we're now back in hip hop modern day slavery. So we're relying back on the record companies to sit back and rob us and rip us off. So we got to first get back to the knowledge of ourselves, back one of the elements in hip hop. We got to educate ourselves again, and which is where we're not at, because like if you look at today's time, it's like when you watch an artist is sit back saying, yo, you can catch me on all major streaming platforms. And I'm sitting there like, well, if I had my own website, am I going to consider myself as a major platform? I just downgrade myself.
The biggest question there is, okay, you got this platform, that platform, but fool, do you got skills?
Do you got skills? You don't even have skills. You don't even. A person doesn't even have marketing and promotion skills. If you got marketing and promotion skills, you should be doing your own website, getting 100% of your profits instead of getting only 5% of your own thing, of your own. 1 million streams for $1,200, and you can ask 1,200 people for $1. Wow.
That's what's up, bro. We need more black.
Let me read this real quick. Let me read this real quick before they take it down. Zaza John, audience, can you break down the elements of trap, reggaeton, or trill that is just simply don't fit the hip hop scene? And why would these types of artists get laughed off the stage in an OG hip hop show?
Okay, I'm gonna say say one part of that. I'll say the trap part, because if I take the reggaeton, I'll be too vulgar on that one. I'll leave that one to Joey.
Like I'm gonna do any better.
the trap, there's actually trap that's pretty dope music. You know, depends on the artist. It's like everything else. If the artist is well, he'll make any music sound good if the artist is a good artist. So trap, I'm not that bad with trap. I'm glad they changed reggaeton and went with the trap a little bit more, like we was talking about before, changing the dembow type of beat, that it was the, you know, that reggae. And this is really bad to say, and I'm proud of my culture and my heritage and being proud of Boricua. But we've always been known for stealing other people's stuff, bro. Like as far as reggaeton, same difference. Trap, okay, what we did, okay, we're gonna do a new trap. It's not new, it's trap. They did it already, bro. But we're doing it well. We're doing it okay. You know, what we can say that we have, and it's not even ours neither, but we're really great at salsa. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, as far as reggaeton, I don't hate it. It's been, when I came from New York and came to Puerto Rico, that's what I was hearing. I would go to clubs with Walkmans on, because it's like you're hearing the same beat over and over and over and over and over.
I remember asking, yo, you listening to that? Let me walk
like, yo, what are you listening to? And now I'm just being my zone. But getting away from that, really, I don't like to hate on nobody from no genre or nothing. It's just what Joey said. If you're a good artist, you're gonna want to evolve and do something that somebody's not doing. You know what I'm saying? That to me is a real artist that has his own type of flavor and style. Keep it authentic.
Originality,
you know,
man. Originality and don't bite. That has to be one of the core hip hop value. You know what I mean? And it's not people out there. I'm not just hating on reggaeton. I'm pretty sure every genre of music goes through this, where there's a certain
hip hop, including hip hop, because it's all about the message.
It's
all about the message.
A group of people that says, okay, they made money or they made this progress by doing this. So let me jump on the bandwagon because I want progress too. And then eventually, once I'm established, I'll have time to find my own identity. Okay, you're doing good for you and maybe even for your fucking label, But what about everybody who listens to you? Once again, if somebody's paying attention to you, giving you their attention, their brainwaves, you got a fucking responsibility, bro.
True indeed. If you ask a lot of these artists that have been crap rapping or doing reggaeton and talking negative vibes on their lyrics, I asked them, because there's a lot of them that you talk to them, you tell them, would you play this to your children? And they will tell you no. They will tell you no, but they will pass it on to somebody else's kids. And that's what I'm talking about. Those are the type of people that I cannot tolerate, because you talking about you for real in this culture, or you for real in whatever, but you want to pimp somebody else's children out, but you don't want nobody pimping out yours. That's where I come from. That's where I stand, and I got my roots dug down deep in that. And anybody who wants to sit back and talk with this old school Zulu about history and words, Zaza can tell you I ain't no joke. He can tell you I ain't no joke. I will bring you facts.
Hitting on what you were saying, somebody could, let me finish this, right? Somebody could say, oh, but hip hop also has vulgar and stuff, vulgar stuff that I don't want my kids listening to. But the same way my dad would sit there in my room, the only times he would sit in my room was to listen to Public Enemy, Cypress Hill, Das Effects. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't, and I love them. Yo, dude, I was born and raised for 11 years in East New York. I love MOP. Firing Squad, bro. But I didn't introduce my daughter to MOP till she was at least 16, 17. I knew she had a mature mind to think things through herself, to see things not literal, but as metaphors. What they talking about here?
You compare and identify. You compare and identify who sold out and who didn't. Because even in hip hop, we got a bunch of sellouts in hip hop. We got a lot of people that started sampling and doing a lot of rap.
I've never heard of a reggaeton fan do that.
Oh, there you go. You know what happens with reggaeton for me? Didn't like it from day one. Never liked it. Never will. Due to the point that the message that was brought out from them was not uplifting. When I went to, I remember years back, and I think Baby J, if he's tuning in with us, he can verify this. We were doing a hip hop show in Añasco, PR, and after we were doing our set and we had break dancers and everything, we took down the speakers and we were getting ready to bounce out, and some reggaeton artists showed up and started asking 13-year-old girls to drop their pants down and show them their underwear, if they had a G-string or not. Then Zulus are very, very respectable people when they want to be. And I was packing up, and all of a sudden I get a call from drug lords from that area that we don't affiliate, or we don't deal with drug lords. But they called me over, yo, are you supposed to be a Zulu? They're telling that 13-year-old girl to drop her pants and shake her ass for them. I said, you tell them guys to get out of here, or we're going to shoot niggas up real quick. That's exactly the words that he told me. I'm telling you the exact words. So when they said those words to me, I had to go up and say, yo, I know you don't know me, but these guys are coming over and they're going to shoot this place up because you guys are telling young girls to drop their pants down. And that's the kind of crap you're giving Puerto Rico. We're not gonna get too far, because when we got 13-year-olds with a belly 9 months pregnant, with no father for their children, and no child support and no nothing, because they don't got a plan, because all they did is listen to some crap music that told you drop down and shake your ass and give it up to the first guy that comes up. That was not a blessing to this island.
Let me address something. I don't know who sent it, because the comment is not there anymore. But Baby somebody J, mentioned that here it goes. Junior
that's
Legend.
Baby J.
That's Baby J?
Yeah.
All right, Baby J, in my opinion, if they would have kept that concept, the concept of mixing artists from hip hop from the US with the reggaetoneros, Boricua Guerrero. All right, if I'm not mistaken, Boricua Guerrero, guys, that was one of the that was one of the projects of Tony Touch down on the island, right?
Right. También was down with that.
Me personally, that instead of giving example, this is what you guys should be doing, or as we were trying to say before, these are the standards of hip hop. Let's do this album together, learn from this and evolve. They saw it the other way around, like, oh, well, if the guys from New York say what we're doing is okay, then let's keep shaking the ass and let's keep doing what we're doing. Nah, fool, that's not what they were saying. They were trying to lead by example, one. Two, it was about money. You were making buku dollars at the time, and they wanted in on that cheddar. Take notice, not very few of those old school dudes have any respect for the reggaeton community, one. Two, don't forget that Tony Touch was the one that went on that on an interview to say that Puerto Rico was nothing but hicks and hillbillies, and he was the one bringing hip hop to the island. Now, he made a song say, Saca mi, how is it? Saca mi nombre or something like that. Take my name out. Supposedly fixing it. How you fix it if you haven't tried to clear the drain that you clogged? You clogged it with this, and you made one track that was horrible. I was supposed to get, oh, well, Tony Touch made a track that said Puerto Rico. I guess everything is okay. Which is why now you got people going to the island, because that's happened to me. Even family members, friends, people I don't know. Oh, yeah, I went to Puerto Rico, man. Yo, where the putas at? That's what they're looking for, because they expect to get off the plane and see a freaking reggaeton video from beginning to end. And me personally, Baby J, much respect, brother. You are of the generation before mine, and there is no disrespect. But I believe that Boricua Guerrero and Tony Touch were some of the worst things to happen to the island, because it started telling people, you know what, let's have a little bit of tolerance. Let's tolerate it. Let's tolerate it. But like I was speaking to Alexandra before, there's a fine line between tolerating something and accepting it. And you can't force me to accept it, bro. You can't force me to accept it.
I gotta say, honestly, this is real. To me, there is a lot of real good
opinion,
hip hop.
you know what I mean? That's my opinion.
No. I accept that. I'm not even gonna touch that. I'm gonna touch about the hip hop, Spanish hip hop in Puerto Rico. Ooh, there are a lot of dope dudes carrying the torch, bro. Underground and not underground, you know, known OGs. There's a lot. Siete Nueve is one of my favorites. Wow. Who else we could say? Loco, Ico Santiago's dope. You got R2. You got, wow, there's so many. There's a lot. If I left people out, I'm sorry. But I can see Velcro, very dope.
Well, you know what? After you guys kind of pause there. You there?
Yeah, hold on. I think we gotta. No, but it's not that. Go, give me a break, Zah.
Those are the tech gremlins, man.
Okay.
It's too much for them.
Hold up, bro. Hold up. Technical difficulties over here.
There you go. You're sideways.
Yeah,
we got you.
Come on, bro. Okay, here we go.
Here we go. We back.
Yeah. You kind of sideways though, bro.
Okay, we're waiting for it to.
Yeah, we're waiting for it to calibrate to the side again. There you go.
We're back at you.
Okay. So yeah, man, I just wanted to get that out. You know, there is a lot of dope hip hop in Puerto Rico, man. A lot of good artists, a lot of good producers, a lot of good MCs. You know, so sometimes we gotta pay.
Hip hop in Spanish is just that. It's hip hop in Spanish.
In Spanish, exactly. Yeah, but a lot of times the people think, oh, there's no hip hop in Puerto Rico. You know what I'm saying? They'll be like, that you haven't been out here then. You know what I'm saying? They just think Puerto Rico's being as reggaeton.
I think now it's safe enough to say that there's hip hop in at least 98% of the freaking world, bro. In one way or another.
I got something that I would like to tell you. I don't know if you know this, but you know, between me and Baby J, we have a lot of history recorded, because Baby J is one of the biggest hip hop historians that has recordings from way back in the days. And now that y'all have mentioned a bit about Tego, I will tell you that I have a personal recording in my house, because I interviewed him myself, where I have him with tears in his eyes, telling me that he sold out to do reggaeton because when he wanted to do hip hop, his producers would not produce him. So he tried to do something with them so that after they pimped him out, then with whatever money he had, he could try to make his own movement with which is Jiggity Records that he's running with right now. But where I'm coming to is that there comes a fine line. And for all of you guys that know me, Zulus out there, anybody within the hip hop culture, that I've been running around since the early 70s, okay? And I've never changed the note. I've always been the same. No matter what came, when the dress code was out of style, you still saw me in my Adidas tracksuit, rocking. You know where I come from. I stayed 100% cultural because hip hop has to do with not only the music and the paint. There's a dress code, and you can go to a place and go, yo, that guy's a flopper, because they're looking at his dress code and they know what you are. You identify yourself the same way you look at as a uniform on a policeman, on a soldier, on a doctor. When you represent your culture to the fullest, people will identify you just by pointing you out. They say, there's where you're at. So people sold out in order to make a dollar, or sold out in order to be known. But I respect who have done it, but that's not me. I've always maintained myself on that fine line because I know who I am, and I know that it is my duty to bring out the most positive in other people by blessing them with the true walk of life.
Well, bro, there was a question. Alexandra, can you bring up the other one about another comment or question about the Zulu so I can read it for? All right, bro, can you tell us about who Zulus are culturally in Puerto Rico? I have only heard of them in Africa.
Okay.
Because I have no idea.
Okay.
This will be educational for me.
Okay, since 1973, the foundation of the culture, the 12th of November of 1973, the Universal Zulu Nation, which back then was founded by Africa Bambaataa, who was the leader of a rival gang called the Black Spades, later on called the organization, then the Zulu Nation, the mighty Zulu Nation, and now the Universal Zulu Nation. It has had many transitions. It's an organization based on hip hop, but it is also an awareness movement that will bless people with things that they don't know or are not aware of at the moment, because the media has done such a great job of not telling everybody the truth. So this is why we stand out the best way we can to be a beacon of light for those who do not recognize that if you're looking at me because I look Hispanic, and maybe you only recognize the tribal Zulu, the tribal Zulus from Africa, I also stand out with my historic or my bloodline. I am also African because Taino Indians were mixed with Spanish and Black. We are just as Black as anybody else that walks the face of the earth. Maybe a little lighter in color, but you will see the recognition on the strong lips or whatever. The features are there, and still it is also within our heart.
Preguntan si son relacionados con los Zulu de New Orleans.
Okay, where I'm at is Zulu Nation is right now running across the entire world as an organization that sustains the culture of hip hop. I will speak bluntly, and listen to me here on this. I do not recognize many who call themselves Zulu part of this organization if they have sold themselves out to this black and white or one-eyed triangle organization that is out there that is pimping the culture and leading the people into destruction, mental destruction.
Yes, sir.
And I think you understand what I meant by black and white or a triangle, one-eyed triangle organizations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The evil of the world. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
so basically, the awareness movement itself was there to alert people about the incoming world order and what we must do to maintain ourselves over it. You understand?
I do, but I just want to say before I hop out again is that I feel like, for me, when I think about what all of you are talking about conceptually, I just keep hearing foundations, and I keep hearing, I keep seeing how important what you're talking about, how there's this big opening right now for this to rise again, because right now we're in a time where everybody's looking for who they are, and they're going back to the seeds of where everything came from. Everybody is looking for exactly what you're talking about in this focus.
It's the voice of the people. That's what hip hop's supposed to be. The voice of the people.
Yeah. So I just want to say, like, I'm glad that you're talking about it, and I'm glad you're still making music. And I want to bless that what you are creating is going to travel far and wide, because it's in alignment with what people are actually looking for.
Mm-hmm. We hope to be the guiding light at the long, dark tunnel of ignorance that many people are wandering in. We wish to set them free, but you must be set free from your mind first. That's why one of the elements of hip hop was knowledge. In order to know yourself and know what you want to manifest in whichever the other 4 elements, you must have knowledge of yourself and knowledge of what you want to do and where you want to get to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rakim, to me, Rakim taught everybody that with Know the Ledge. Because Know the Ledge, a lot of people know it from the Juice movie, you know, and you hear it at first, you know, if you take whatever it is by first, you know, face value, what you're just hearing the first time, it's like, okay, it's a ghetto story. The dude comes up from nothing, makes money, you know what I mean? Sees a shorty, meets her on the train, let me go get some. He gets shot on the way out. You're like, that's not something that I really want to pay attention to, much less let my kids listen to. But it's called Know the Ledge, knowledge. Once you do the knowledge of self, that you have some type of knowledge of yourself and you listen to it, what he's telling you is all the wrong things to do in life and in the street. So though it may, this is once again part of what I was talking about before, the standards. Just because I say duck doesn't mean I'm talking about duck. Listen to what I have to say. I may be talking about a car. I may be talking about a souffle. And that's one of the songs that broke that down to me. It's like metaphors are very important because what we say is very important. You know what I mean? It's very powerful. And to me, Know the Ledge is one of those songs where at first you're like, oh, this is just some shoot 'em up story. No, wait a minute. This guy is telling me keep the right path. This is what can happen to me. Oh, shit.
I like Self-Destruction a lot too. When all the MCs came together and made that song, that was really something else too. Self-Destruction. Same game.
If I express myself in this manner, I would tell you the reason why I'm here with you at this moment, Zaza, is because, you know, I don't do Facebook. I don't do any type of social media.
Which is
everybody that knows or has seen me on a radio program or has caught a DVD of where I talk, and I fly under the radar.
All right.
I fly under the radar, and I take very good care of myself, the people surrounding me, and the things that I teach. Tony back here can tell you, he shows up in my crib on weekends. I teach the laws, the Constitution, everything that the people are missing out on. What you call deceptive language, the language that you are taught to believe that certain words mean certain things. And when you go to a court to fight your case in court, they don't mean exactly what you were taught. And a lot of people are there, you know, that are losing time in court, are over here, what do you call it, contracting the service of a lawyer. And I don't contract any lawyers because they all vow in order to get their little license that they're going to serve that corrupt maritime admiralty law system. When the foundation of all the laws that you have are based on the Constitution and on the common law. But that's a long story to talk about. That'll probably be another podcast. But if people are very much interested in knowing all the laws and all the things that they're being taken away from and all the words that they teach you to say, and you say them and you don't know their true meaning, I'm just going to hit you off with one simple. Everybody says we're human beings. Human beings in Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. This is the terminology that is used in court. It says you are a beast of burden that can be sold in market. So when you say you're a human being and you acknowledge that you're an animal, where do you normally place animals? In jail, because that's a cell, that's a cage, that's where you place animals. So that's why so many people are in prison today, because they have not learned deceptive language. They have not learned what this hidden language is between what you were taught in school to make you dumber. Okay, the word wisdom comes from wisen the dumb, and I think you know that very well, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
if it's to wisen the dumb, They are trying to keep you dumb with a system that has been made to dumbing you down so they can empower themselves.
And as an artist, as a writer, as a lyricist in hip hop, I feel that now. You know what I mean? You can't do this now because now it has to sound like this. You can't do this now because you have to be on this platform. You have to be in this other place. And it's like, yo, whatever happened to just giving you one hell of a fucking show, man? You know what I mean? What happened with being the MC? Yo, for those, I mean, I know you guys know because you're from the same area I am. You know what I mean? John Wayne, you've been with me, you know what I mean? Almost since day one. But for those who don't know, we were doing this show once in Aguadilla, and we had like maybe 6 minutes left, and the light goes out. Those who have ever been to Puerto Rico know that if the old lady down the street sneezes too hard, the fucking lights go out.
True indeed.
So the lights went out, dude. And before everybody could start booing, like, yo, what's up with the lights? I looked to one side, I looked to the other, I dropped the microphone, I stepped to the edge of the stage, took a deep breath, and I pretty much barked the rest of the fucking show, B. I did another 2 tracks barking it. I just looked at everybody, got as close as I could to the crowd, and went, and just let go. And I got so many people like, yo, everybody else would have just went home, B. That's why we come to see you. True. For the next 4 or 5 days, I had no voice.
Right.
I had no voice. But that's a skill, a standard that you have to learn from the OGs. And those are standards that were lost. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you have to bark. You know, you have to be able to but making sure you have the lung capacity enough to give somebody a show with fucked up music. Indeed. John, what was it? Canena Market. We did that show where you had a mixer that didn't even have a fader.
With the mixer,
that didn't have a fader, bro. How do you even make something like that?
I learned up and down first, bro. Thank God, because if not, I would have been. That's the way I learned, with up and down mixer, bro. Yep.
So I think it's up to us to keep those standards going.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So I was just talking with Leroy Mabrock Matis, who he's drumming from he's OG roots and culture reggae, and oh no, it wasn't that conversation. I was talking to Mr. Majestic and Mango Rankin. And go back, they did something on Africa Week a couple of days ago, and
I missed it.
And I want to know if this exists in hip hop, or I want to know if this exists in the shows you were doing. In reggae, roots and culture reggae, there's always this guy on the stage with a flag, right? And they said, "Oh, that's the hype man." Do you all have that in this culture? Is there a hype man?
Oh, yeah.
That's the MC.
Go ahead, guys.
That's the MC.
There's always a hype man. Yes, definitely. Most of the time.
The MC was the hype man for the DJ.
Yeah, exactly.
So does he come on the crowd? He just like gets the crowd going, like.
Yes,
master of ceremony.
Used to be the guy in the background.
Now it's the DJ before the MC. Before it was the MC before the DJ.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Interesting. Okay. What were the calls they would make? Were there certain things they would always say?
Oh,
but
wow.
Cultures were like, cultural was throw your hands in the air, wave them like you just don't care. There were different types of.
These were the hype, and these are the phrases of the hype guys. Okay.
Yes, exactly. And some of these hype phrases were made by women, not by men. That's how come women within the culture are our treasures. You understand? We don't see them as other people would see them as just a simple body. They are our queens. They are important people, and they are part of this culture.
Saluda a Amaze, que está en la casa. DJ Amaze, peace, man.
Peace, Amaze. Love you.
Then,
we need to talk.
Once the writing of the lyrics and the rhythm. Imagine the syllables of this is definitely my line, my specialty, right? Imagine the syllables that you say in a word, in a phrase. Now, instead of sound, just regular sound as far as vowels and consonants, think of it as rhythm. The same way James Brown used to see every instrument in his band. He saw everything mathematically in time as rhythm. Once those things started getting a bit complicated and you were actually able to do deeper math within those syllables, the hype man is there not just to make things sound better, maybe to amplify the voice and certain things, to give emphasis to phrases, but to also give the main dude, the one who with the main verse at the time, a moment to breathe. Because just like a violin, a drum, you play the pause.
Exactly.
In our craft, which is being a lyricist, which is my stuff, you actually have to write in that pause and take advantage. If you're a good writer, I'm giving you guys writing 101. I don't give these secrets out to everybody. My brothers know, half of y'all don't know. You take that time to breathe. Because not many people do it anymore, but these guys know me. Though in a studio, you can chop it up.
Yeah. I'm
the type of person that if I can't do it the way I want it to sound on the album from beginning to end, I won't record. It's not time for me to record. Guys, am I lying?
All right.
That's the way I do it. You know, and that's part of the craft, because you make sure that when you're live on stage, which back in the days was the way you actually made your money. You weren't making much on record labels. You were making it on your presentation. Because it was you up there.
You know what's so interesting about this is that this is what people study in universities when they're studying Shakespeare. Mm-hmm. They're studying trochees, and they're studying like all of these, the iambic pentameter. What you're talking about is your version of an iambic pentameter and all the rests and the stops that make sense with the rhythm that's coming out of your heart, really, mm-hmm. and the breath it takes to support it.
Yeah,
it doesn't need to be Shakespeare, and it doesn't need to be studied in a university. It comes out of people.
Plus, have you ever been on stage, Alexandra?
Yeah, I used to be a performer. Yeah.
You know those spotlights are hot.
Yeah, especially if you're wearing like a Victorian costume. Yes, I know very well.
Those lights can get really, really hot. Now, all those lights on stage in Puerto Rico in the summer.
Okay, I want to just add, I used to do outdoor theater in Colorado in the middle of the summer and have to wear like 6 layers and pretend it was winter and project in an amphitheater that wasn't built for sound to like 1,000 roads back. So I have an idea.
Wow.
I feel it.
Well, I want to add real quick that when we talk about hip hop, a lot of people don't actually know. A lot of people that know about hip hop do know, but it really descends a lot from other genres of music, like soul, funk, jazz,
blues.
All of those blues, all that incorporates into hip hop music. You know, because if you come to think about it right now, in this era of my life, I'm more into that music than hip hop. To where it actually came from. Once whatever hip hop song that I would like now, I want to know where it originated from. Where did they get the sample for it? And I end up liking that song like 10 times more than the song that I thought I liked. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's good to always dig back to where the original music comes from, you know?
Mm-hmm. One thing that I want to touch upon.
I just keep hearing Africa when you all are talking about this. Course. I just keep hearing Africa.
Simple. Definitely.
Okay. When I grew up in the early 70s in Manhattan, I'm from Manhattan, New York, and I used to live on 97 and 3rd Avenue. Right across the street, there was a playground, basketball court.
How old are all of you? What?
Well, I'm 53.
Hip hop is the fountain of youth.
I'm the youngest one, 45.
So basically,
you're 45 already, John?
Yeah, man.
What was going down is that before anybody would spin like Grandmaster Flash, or anybody would come down and spin at that time in what was called 100th Street back in the days, they would start early at 4:30, 5:30 with straight up conga music. There was nothing but people playing congas, and those were the break beats. You understand? People used to go and break to that, and then when the DJ found out that he can loop the beat, which is where they put the little sticker on the record, that's what we call the get down. Exactly, yeah. The get down of the record, and people would use that as a break dance beat, and they would just over, run it over, play it over, bring it back and bring it back. That is what concentrated the people on recognizing the African roots within the congas. You understand? It was beautiful for us.
And the resonance was just always there. Till this day, and it's old, it's probably just as old as I am. I'm 44, the song, give or take a year or two. Till this day, if you play the song Apache,
oh
my God.
Oh my goodness.
Classic, bro.
I'll probably break a hip.
That's classic. Definitely.
Those are one of the breakdance national anthems.
And it's the congas and the bongos and everything. Boom, boom. It's
for B-boys. If it isn't that one, it will be Give It Up, Turn It Loose.
Just Begun.
Or Just Begun. Those are the three records that are the three national anthems for B-boys.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it. That's all I had to hear.
I put it in the thing. I put it in the thing for people to check out.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard that a little bit. That's all I had to hear. Just the horns. Okay, yeah, that's it. It's in our, that song is in our DNA already, I think.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. That's like, I ain't gonna lie. One time Lex said, I don't care if you could be in your freaking suit to get married. If you hear that, you're gonna do a little bit of up rock or top rock, and that's true, bro. That's really true.
All right, so let me ask you guys a quick question. Where should we be? You know what I mean? As far as hip hop, the culture, we've talked about what went right, what went wrong. Where
I'll tell you where I like to be personally, and I respect where everyone wants to go. I still work in the streets. I still see kids that want to do their homework with me. I still look at kids that parents don't talk to them. I still look at kids that no one wants to be their friend and they're being left out. I still look at kids who are distracted by social media, are stuck on their little gaming room and don't have any type of social life. I look at those kids and I said, these are the ones that have to be set free, because this system is dividing people. Since people now are too interested in their social media, they don't sit anymore at a dinner table without bringing their phone or their tablet.
Word up.
And it's all dividing the family, and that is what this system wants, because they can only empower themselves over you by scratching out the elderly, the people who can teach you foundation and giving you whatever history they please that they can give you. They are taking away much of the history that we have lived and wish to pass on, and the history that our grandparents and our parents gave us. It's much easier for them to scratch all of that out, to stop teaching you how to grow, how to say, organically. Stop teaching you what are your rights. Stop teaching you, and they're only going to teach you to follow a system that will mentally enslave you.
Control.
And once you know it, you're under MK Ultra mind control.
Yeah.
That's where it all lands into.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but I'd rather be out there in the street. I'm 53. And survivor of 11 car accidents, shot in the head once, stabbed once. But I'll give my life for this culture, and I will take any kid that wants to be taken away from a drug lord immediately with no hesitation and no fear. And I'm that kind of guy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. John, where would you like to see hip hop now?
I would like to see it more real, more like we talked about before, black owned, black and Hispanic owned, more, I like to see our people more empowered, not just, with como los monigotes, como uno dice,
slaves.
No more slavery, bro. We need to be our own kings and queens, man. And we have them, but a lot of the times we don't help each other out neither, because a lot of times a person will be like, oh, let them go through what I went through to get to the top. And I could understand that, because you had to go through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but a point,
a lot of times people do need help, man. And the more you can help out a fellow person that's of your culture, of your race or whatever, even somebody that needs help, whatever it is, it's always good to teach somebody. And not always the way is the best way, but just to give them a little bit, a more acknowledgement of what they need to know, at least what you learned. Maybe down the way, when you leave this earth, you left somebody a jewel that will help them out there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, taking that same thought and keeping it in the hip hop, it's not. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, right? Because it does exist. I've met people, but it's not a big quantity of, let's say, DJing. There's not a big quantity of kids or even adults. Because I mean, martial arts. I started martial arts when I was 29. I wanted to start when I was a kid, but I couldn't. Right. So there's people that if you were to tell them, look, man, I'm going to teach you how to DJ. Let's get the turntables. Let's get some vinyl. Wow, when I can hook up my phone and I got all this.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, what I was saying before, and once again, it's just my opinion.
Yeah.
When you go too modern, you're missing shit. Shit that's essential to the craft. You know what I mean? Don't tell me you're a painter, yet you never learn how to hold a paintbrush.
Right, exactly.
Then you're a finger painter or a foot painter or an ass painter. You're painting with something other than a paintbrush. You know what I'm saying? So with keeping that in mind, you know what I mean? How is it that you actually get to people to teach them the core values of hip hop if they don't want to fucking listen? And then you got old school guys that have the means, have the platforms, have the resources. Oh, I just want to be heard because I haven't dropped anything in 2 years. Let me come out with this new dude, and new dude's a freaking clown. We need clowns,
there's a lot of people,
not clowns.
There's still a lot of people doing good things, at least on the island. There's people actually helping the youth with the D-Day Alex from Time Machine Squad. They have a youth program over there in the area San Juan, which they're teaching kids how to DJ. And honestly, I would like to actually get into that on this side of the island. I'm thinking of talking to a couple of local DJs from here and trying to get back, man. Really, really, that would be something I would like to accomplish, because we really do need to show the craft more and teach them the way we was taught. You know, like let's say your computer goes down and you can't use your computer. Hey, you got vinyl. You know what I'm saying? Go back to that analog, Papa. You know what I'm saying? And learn the right way. So then when you actually get to the way it is now, it'll be a little bit easier for you, because it is easy now. It's very easy. You got the BPM, you got the cue points, you got all that right there. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to learn and really serious about learning, then it's a good time for that, man. You just got to learn the right way.
Easy has never made anybody stronger.
Facts.
That's real. You know what I mean? Because though we're all going through shit, not just through music or business wise, everything socially, pandemic, all this shit going on. There's one thing we can take away from it, dude, is that easy does not make you stronger, bro.
Mm-hmm. That's true, bro.
And we're used to not having it easy, because that's how hip hop was made to begin with, dude. It's not easy, and I'm still standing. What?
Morris Kelly wants us to plug more people from Puerto Rico. Wow, that's dope. I want to give a shout out to my boy, my brother from one of the best MCs in Puerto Rico, Baba Lu Machete, aka Milky. Salute, my brother. Thank you for all the jewels and the blessings, like always, bro. And there's a lot of good people on the island, man, that are doing good things. DJ Adam has always been one of my favorite DJs in Puerto Rico. You got Velcro Davey in San Juan over here. You got Lou Demo also in this area, does turntablism.
You got Baby J. Doing hip hop history. He's a hip hop historian. You can look him up on Baby Entertainment 68.
Yes,
You'll see all types of interviews with myself. Going back, we've been the last one. There's so many different interviews that we've had of many people that have contributed to this culture, that we believe it's a blessing for other people to get to know how many people in Puerto Rico. We had a beautiful interview with Ken Swift. For all those of you that know him and his beautiful history within the culture of hip hop, there are so many people I could name, but if you want and you're curious, you get on.
Just throwing it out there. You know, Ken Swift is one of my favorite b-boys, right?
Oh yes, definitely.
I gotta know that, dude. Ken Swift was one of my favorites.
Well, when you check out Boricua Posse and Baby Entertainment, you'll see the interview that I had with him, because he's an old school Zulu too.
That's what's up, bro. I've been doing a couple of mixtapes lately with some of the local artists from over here too, man. I wanted to bring back that essence. It was really actually Baba who was like, yo, what's up, man? Start doing mixtapes like New York style and stuff. And you know what? It's been really good for me during this COVID. I've been, I got back on my grind with that. So I'll give a shout to all the MCs that came out with that. Malacara, which is a really dope MC that came out at the Cartagena Rosario dude coming up dope. Wow, Gookie,
I can't wait to hear that triple beam shit, bro.
Huh?
I can't wait to hear that triple beam shit. I'm just saying.
Oh, you gotta keep that one on the low, Papa. You already know, man.
Familia,
Yes,
abrazo.
sir.
Estoy celebrando el cumpleaños de mi vieja, pero los escucho. Beto, abrazo, Beto.
Beto, salud, bro. Felicidades a la vieja,
Beto
bro.
Oro.
Yes, sir. Gente buena.
Yeah, yeah.
Gente buena,
Tony,
Beto.
what you got for us, man? Where would you like to see? Where do you think hip hop should be?
Where should hip hop be? Where it should be right now?
Yeah.
Hip hop, yes, sir.
Technically speaking, I'm gonna say overall right now, I'm real disappointed in hip hop. Because first of all, hip hop is really not educating us on teaching our youth about wealth, teaching us of how to take control back. All we're doing is just teaching each other how to be entertainers. That's all we're doing. We're not teaching no one how to boss up right now. So what we need to do is we need to have more people who are empowered to teach us how to get back and take control, because all we're doing is just recycling the same thing. So we need to get to a point where
I told this young brother not too long ago, I was like, look, man, I'm just what you said. I am completely disappointed with it. Let me go as far as to say I'm disgusted.
Disgusted with it. Exactly.
Right?
It's because right now we're so past what we're used to that we're 20 years behind. And the young generation is so far advanced of us that right now we can't even keep up with them. We're lost. One good thing about it is the nostalgia of us as hip hop heads is a great thing, which, you know, the young generation is going to call us like Smithsonians or ancient type of characters, because technology has made everything easier for them. That how far in advance is the young gifted and talented groups are. They are so far advanced in where we are right now, and that they use hip hop to allow the youth to come above the elders. And that's why there's a divide of the youth is not getting on with the adults and the adults are not getting on with the youth. So at what point can we sit back and say, hey, they used our own culture against us to divide us? So that means we were never strong in hip hop anyway. It was that money that fell out of that dollar, which was stronger in our culture than it was us talking about knowledge of ourselves. So if ourselves is selling out for $1, then what is the culture?
I remember one time myself, I was pulling together an event for Aguadilla, and I was visited by people who bought me some sort of contract and a certain bunch of things. There was that one-eyed triangle coming to see if I would sell out. And I told them, listen, I'm reading your contract and I'm reading everything that you're telling me that you want to give me. You're talking about all this money, a new car and home and blah, blah, blah. I said, I need you to do one thing. I need you to leave before you leave from my house with 3 shoes, 2 on your feet and 1 up your ass, because I don't sell out. That's all very simple. That's all very simple. Kids mean too much to me. Their history means too much to me. I heard once, and when you spoke earlier on, you brought me a memory that I don't want to leave without sharing with you. When you were talking about you wish you were back in the days when it was on fire back. I remember B-Boy Maximus one time told me that in this event, and he told me, you don't know what I would give to be there at that time. And I remember the words that I told him. I told him the following. You know why you're at the right time? Because you showed me right now that I didn't waste my time when I started this with everybody else. You are the fact. You are the proof, the living proof that this shit works. Excuse the language, but this works if you make it work. Okay? So I told him, I don't care what generation you come from. Okay? If you have a positive mentality, if you're not interested in selling out, if you're interested in uplifting yourself, your family, your culture, your whole of society that surrounds you, then I didn't waste my time. And everybody else that believes in this didn't waste their time. And that's why we're still here, because we believe in this. And even though I don't force my daughter, who's 15 today, to be part of any hip hop movement, she does love the music and everything, but I don't empower her on, I'm going to teach you how to dance electric boogie, I'm going to teach you how to break. No, I don't teach any of that. Why? Because I respect her personality. I respect who she is and what she wants to become. When she comes to me and says, Dad, will you teach me how to scratch? Will you teach me how to do this? I said, that Daddy will. But in the meantime, I respect the liberty, the freedom that each and every person has to manifest and become what they want to become in the future. Yes, you have to stand by them as a guiding light. This is important. Because if you've been out there in the hood, if you've been out there and you know what's been going on up there, you know what's cooking.
Not just in the hood. Like, let's say looking at a contract, dealing with some producers. That not just in the hood, dealing with contracts, dealing with producers, dealing with studios. You can get butt fucked real quick.
True indeed.
360 and don't even know it.
So basically, you know, I myself was one time introduced with contracts to sell out. And if I could say no, I'm not stronger or better than anybody out there. You know, if somebody else decided to sell out, it's maybe because their foundation was weak. Maybe they were built on sand. I'm built on solid rock. Sand with water ships.
Let me ask you a question. Where would be the line between branching out and selling out?
Okay, it
because
depends.
It's two different things. You know, for those who don't know, it's two different things.
Okay, branching out to making yourself an artist, yes, it is possible. But when people control your essence, when people control your talent, when people control the clothes you wear, how you must show your body to other people, and you see that it is not you, you're being pimped out.
And that's not just in music, that's in everything, brother. Socially right now.
That's it. You must identify within yourself what got you to become the type of artist that you want to become. And you can't let nobody shake that from under your feet, because you're inspired by something that blessed you to take a vision to become X or Y person. And you cannot let somebody says, no, well, the people want this. This is what they want to see. This is the type of artist you should become, and I'm going to change your hair. Or I'm going to change the way
they may
you dress.
want it, but do they need it? I think I was talking with that.
They're cloning you into something
earlier.
else.
There's a difference between want and need, and not a lot of people know the difference between want and need. Yeah. They think if they want it that bad, then I guess I need it. No.
Exactly. Well, you know, if you have respect for yourself, aside of all, respect for yourself, and you have respect for the people that are out there, because when you're going to put yourself out as an image, well, just as we are doing right now, we are setting ourselves out like on a dartboard, and if anybody doesn't like us, they throw darts at us freely. Within them, we will find those who are wise and those who are probably part of the problem and not part of the solution. And when they are part of the problem, we are open targets, so they can try to divide us and conquer with all the corruption that they have bought from day one within the system.
There it is.
The thing is that we are not small-minded. We had freed our minds long time ago, because wow, Zaza, how many years do you think we know each other? Too many. Too many years to know that if we share the time,
almost 30 years at least.
Yeah, so where I'm at is that we know each other enough to know the freedom that we manifest within our minds, within our spirit, within our soul, within the mentality that we pass on to others, so that it's not just about the skills that we do, whether you're a rapper, you're a painter, you're a DJ, or no, Zulus were taught to do all 4 or 5 cultures, so that if anybody would step to us, oh, but you're not a DJ, well, step off. I got my own set in my house. Listen to me. When it comes to graffiti, I've done my stuff also. When it comes to rapping, I don't know if you've ever heard me spit before, But those who have heard me, they don't want to cross the line. But basically, on all elements, we should all be founded so we could talk about what we know. If you study it, if you know what you're talking about, it's like I remember years back when I used to be visited by men of different cultural beliefs or religious beliefs, in which they would ask me 1,001 questions. I said, well, I study all cultures, I study all religions, because I can't talk bad about anything unless I've studied it. And a lot of people are taught from scratch. Just because you're not part of my clan or part of my belief, I can point you out. And the same thing goes with culture. If we do not know how to maintain this culture away from the vultures, from the piranha, that simply want to chew up these young kids that are coming up that don't understand that if you choose to sign a contract without knowing who you are and who's dealing with you, you've lost everything that you got. And, you know, it's not bad to sell a contract just as long as you're wise enough to know how to deal with it. It isn't the money issue. It is the issue of maintaining your essence and not selling out and not losing yourself to someone who will control you and hold you down when maybe your talent could have rose a little higher.
Well, if we don't teach them the standards that we all grew up with within hip hop, how are they even going to know?
Excuse me?
You know what I mean? Because the standards, there were certain standard and base rules on how to conduct yourself within the hip hop community, and we stopped teaching that to the younger ones.
True indeed.
So we need to put it on Africa Week 2020.
Word up.
Yeah.
Hey, we need to have that platform. If we got to do this, if it's something that we have to teach every month, once a month or something, we need to ingrain it in education, because if we're going to be hip hop heads, we need to have some kind of platform to where people can hear our voice. Because again, we need to go back to that point of the voice of the voiceless. But right now with social media, everybody can be heard. So the authenticity of everything is going to be diluted. But yet, if we keeping it, like I said, if it's Africa Week 2020, we're going back to our original roots at that particular point. So there can't be any questions of that. So it can't be any culture vultures being involved or anything if we are hip hop and we are the ones speaking. So we don't have to suffer cognitive dissonance.
No doubt, no doubt. Alexandra, you still around? I can't see any comments or anything. I don't know how much time we have left, guys. So if you want to like throw a
Hey, I'm sorry. Did you have a question for me?
I think she's coming up.
Yeah, how much time was left, and if there were any questions or comments, so we could wrap it up. Because we'll go for the next 3 days.
The whole time. Beto came in and said hello. Just recorded some Bacca drums for the new Velcro track.
Nice.
Word up.
I'm sorry. Did you ask something in the last 5 minutes? Because I really did. It was like the first time I got up. What's up?
Were there any questions for the guys or anything? We pretty much.
People have been just saying like, word up, fire. Yes, sir. Get down. I actually have a question myself. I have a question myself about the J Dilla Foundation.
Yeah.
What's all that about? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, J Dilla, with J Dilla, what we do is we continue the legacy of James Witt Yancey, who passed in 2006. So what we're actually doing, we're continuing his legacy through youth education, which throughout the world, every February is called Dilla Month, which all over the world, people celebrate some kind of event all over in every country. So they're keeping the legacy alive with his music. For me, what I had to do is we had to come up with the foundation, we had to make it more youth engaging. Because when you allow too many adults take control of certain things, they become the kids themselves. So it has to happen. The audience for it has to be the kids. So adults can interact with the kids, but it can't be adults for adults being like an adult party.
Yeah.
We had to stop that because it wasn't going in the direction of teaching the youth the proper education of who Jay Dilla was and what a music it's more or less about music education, because like right now we have a grant with VH1 Save the Music, which is a Jay Dilla Tech grant, that we're looking for certain schools to really pick up this particular grant, because all they need is a full-time music a music producer, a music conductor, and then they're gonna offer up all kinds of.
Located?
You can go on the James DeWitt Yancey Foundation.org.
Okay.
Or you can go to jdillafoundation.org. I mean, you'll come up with our merch, or you'll end up getting to our actual foundation page. But the James DeWitt Yancey Foundation, you could actually find out more about what we're involved in youth engagement. Just like here in Puerto Rico, we're dealing with Berkeley College.
Nice.
Here in PR as well, to get involved with that, to find there's a program that they do with getting some kid that's in the neighborhood, in the area, take them through this immense program for like a whole week, and how he depends on how he or she turns out. They go to Boston to the big college over in Berkeley and Boston. So they also asked us to be involved with that because they found out we here in Puerto Rico. So like I said, for me, it's all about youth engagement. With the adults, we've had our time. We've had our time, and we got to stop being Peter Pan. We got to stop being Peter Pan, because I don't want to sit. Once before, one of my friends sat back and said to me, this was like a couple years ago. He said, "Tone, wouldn't you want to be 16 or 17 again?" I said, "Excuse my language." I said, "Hell no."
Hell no.
Hell no. Why would I want to
learn all the messages?
I should have been doing things in my life that I should not be regretting.
Right.
I should be happy with what I'm doing in my life, to where I feel good, not to the point where I want to go back to 16 and 17. I'm 50.
All right.
Don't we have people on trial for that? 16 and 17?
Okay.
No. So no, I don't want to go back to that point. So some adults could take advantage of my craft and my skills. Again, that's what the industry, these culture vultures look for. They look for the uneducated youth, pass them a few bucks because they're in the diaspora of some community. Yeah. They're not used to anything. They can just give them less to make it look like they're giving them more. And it's just sad how they do these kids. So that's why it's important for us adults. We have to give back to the kids. It's our duty.
Yes,
it's our duty. And if we don't do that,
we're being irresponsible ourselves.
We're being irresponsible, because right now, if you look at it, if we, as the hip hop heads who came up with hip hop, if we look at it, we are 3 generations lost right now. Take it back to the point when you found crunk music, when you found trap, booty music, all of that type of music.
I forgot about crunk, bro.
We're behind. So how easy it for us to reach out to the group of youth nowadays? How easy is it? If you play their type of music, you can get them engaged, because this is the one thing that youth have said. The reason that they don't listen to real hip hop is because it scares them. It scares them. So if teaching you about knowledge of yourself scares you, what is in place to cause these kids now to use hip hop as their crutch for their depression, their anxiety, and their suicide watching? These kids are mentally unstable now. And we're going to use hip hop as the crutch that they can use as an excuse. We got to stop that. We got to put accountability on the parents and the kids themselves. We got to stop using hip hop as that excuse, because we already lost hip hop. We lost it. So we got to come back for ourselves, who are the original people. We got to find a way to come together and give back.
No doubt.
Woo! I feel like what you're talking about with that power is the truth of all of our communities. When I look at activism and you know, our activists and our revolutionaries, they are eating themselves alive. And what they're missing is I see a lot of mental illness in activism, and I see a lot of missing of understanding who you really are and how to work with other people and a culture that you're tied together to, and instead just eating each other alive while you're trying to fight for Black Lives Matter, but really what you're doing is taking each other down.
Wow.
That's real.
What's the biggest drug on the market that's keeping everybody happy right now and youth engaging?
The internet.
Smoking.
Oh.
Medical marijuana. They're using it as an excuse. It's a pacifier. It's not a solution. We just keep patching. We're patching. Hip hop has done nothing but for the last few generations patch things for the youngins. They don't have a solution. That's why it's gonna be when they crack, when these youngins crack, what is the solution for them? And as we looking in hip hop, it's been nothing but death of the young generation time and time again nowadays.
I think
When you look
I
at
think
this culture-
things are made just too easy for them.
Things are too
The
easy
mind
for them,
of
which means they're
creativity
gonna lose.
was completely lost.
You know,
They have no social skills.
yo,
That's
Zaza.
true. Now, as a single woman who is 37 and understanding that men don't know how to talk to women or flirt with women or treat women like human beings, I can tell you that the social skills that I interact with men is insane. It's absolutely insane.
Oh, you talking about track number 12? You talking about track number 12?
Track number 12.
On somebody's album talking about what you're saying.
Please send that to me. Will somebody send that to me? Track number 12.
Pretty much with these albums that people are making, it's in the point of what you're talking about.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
It's in a track. It's in a song. The disrespect towards our women, towards track number 12.
See, one of the funny things that happened within the music, and when I addressed a while ago, when we were talking about the different streams where they played reggaeton and they tried to make it a thing in Puerto Rico, it's kind of sad that today, as I'm speaking right now, we have young girls, 20 or in their early 20s, don't make it yet to 30, and maybe underage, maybe still in their teens and just about getting ready to be 18. A lot of these girls have 1, 2, or 3 children, and they're looking at old men that take Social Security because the young guys are killing themselves on a drug spot. That's what's happening. When
women, another women.
You know, all the young women have had to set their sight on older men as a positive income for their children, because some of their children don't even have a dad. Either he's on lockdown or he got shot up in some gang fight. And why did it start with? Negative music, something that didn't give them a positive way to live their life. And that's how come I say we have to be very careful, whether it's in hip hop, whether it's in trap, whether it's in whatever culture. If you're not bringing out a message that's going to save your community, that's going to bless them, that's going to respect the woman, because it's kind of trashy that a guy talks dirty about a girl in his song, but yet he don't want nobody talking about his sister or looking at her in a certain fashion, or his daughter, or maybe his own girlfriend.
Yes.
He wants everybody to respect his bloodline of what he's bringing, but he won't respect anybody else's kin in the lyrics that he's spitting.
One thing that you're touching on, and I think it's this thing that just I found just in the things I've learned is that, you know, after slavery, it was incredibly easy to continue to create culture in the public that Black people were less than, people of color were inhuman. It was easy to create that culture because it's coming right off of enslavement of people, right? And I remember hearing about, like, in the 70s when before we had the gang problems that United States created, that the gangs were community services. And at that time, So at that time, the government was saying, okay, well, instead of us trying to destroy them or maintaining a destruction of a people, we can just infiltrate those communities and have them destroy themselves. And so a lot of times when I see, like I said, when I moved to the United States, it wasn't in the 70s, but when I moved to the United States, it was the turn of the century. And I feel like the hip hop that I was seeing and the music that people were consuming was just an extension of how to infiltrate a community and have them destroy themselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an extension of enslavement and white supremacy.
You saw it. And if you're not used to it and you saw it, that's that consciousness. That's that third eye. That third eye picked up on it.
I didn't grow up here. I didn't grow up in a container where I got that education, that conditioning. And my parents, we went so far away, not just an American community, but an international community. And my parents are from New Orleans. And the fact that they left New Orleans and went to Houston was far away from home. Going to Saudi Arabia to raise their kids was even further away from home. So I had that benefit, and it was very difficult to come to the States and see this. And I still now, when others don't see this, to me means that they're not deeply connected in enough with a culture, with a structured culture that has integrity.
They haven't gone nowhere.
It almost seems like it's obvious. People have seen it. All these flaws we've spoken about, they're freaking obvious. It's just, once again, tolerance turned into acceptance, and shit got out of control.
Tolerance
my opinion. That's just my opinion.
You know what it is all about? I find it very simple. As of today, I, as a person who teaches laws and the Constitution and so many things from my house, and it gets pretty full there. But it takes people that either they hear it and they do something about it, or they just criticize the system but are too scared to move against it.
Yeah.
That's what's going on within this culture that we have. Everybody may point their finger of how the Illuminati and how the Freemason movement has pimped and has squeezed this like if it was an orange and taken all the juice out of it. They still haven't emptied the orange because we are here. And it is our duty not to be squozen. It is our duty to squeeze back. You understand?
That's real shit.
I also want to add to that, and that is everybody has their lane in which they can do something. I don't personally, I don't feel comfortable being out on the streets in this fight. I live downtown Portland. I don't know if you guys have heard of what's going on in Portland. I don't feel comfortable going 7 blocks down and getting hit in the face with tear gas, but I will put everything into creating a platform so that people can come and speak and we can build our bridges and learn what we need to learn. Everybody has some lane that they do something.
I would like to touch up on that precisely. The lack of education that people have, because what happens is that when they got into this rioting, I see it this way. The next guy gets up in the morning and says, I need to get some bread and milk. Oh, wait a minute. I just destroyed the bakery yesterday. If they had brain one in their head, you understand? You do not take this discussion to the people in your neighborhood who have no fault in this. If you're getting sprayed with tear gas, as you say, another detail, all police officers, any government official, I don't care who you call them, CIA, FBI, blah, 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 blah. They are all what are called public servants. Listen to the word, please. Public servant. A servant is there to serve you, the people. If you are the people, and listen, and I don't want to get into this because whenever you want to, it's a very deep waters to talk about. Don't ever say the bad word citizen, because when you say the word citizen, you violate all of your constitutional established rights. The meaning for citizen under Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, means born or naturalized under the jurisdiction of the government. Wait a minute there. But remember, the people, when they made the Constitution is the contract where After the people, the government swears that they're going to serve you under that contract, which is the Constitution. So the only way they can take away your rights is by making you say that you are a citizen. Citizen comes from the word citizenship. Now you take the last word, ship. There are only two things that come on a boat. Either it's merchandise or it was slaves. Ooh. So when you say you have citizenship, you say I am a slave on a ship under maritime admiralty law, which are the laws of England when we fought to get away from them when we had the Revolutionary War. The laws that you are living in this system is called maritime admiralty law when the Constitution was founded on common law. Please study this. This is so profound and this is so deep that this is how you crack all the fraudulent, fictitious treason that they have done against the Constitution. If anybody is a government personnel or servant, public servant, they are there to serve the people. If you do not want their service, you can reject it. So you can reject that tear gas. But once you say you are a citizen, then you are under their jurisdiction and they can do whatever they wish they want to do to you. But once you claim that you have, because let's break it down even further. When you look at the beginning of the Constitution, it tells you we the people. It does not say we the citizens. So why did you change the word people for citizens? When you change it for that word, you lose all the rights established in the Constitution. It's a long, deep water to swim in. Anybody wants to come in, we'll do another podcast and I will drop all the jewels that you need on it. And I'm telling you, I don't know if they'll shut you down because I know I've already shut down 2 radio. Yes, they don't want this out. They don't want this out, trust me. But you need to be blessed and you can then bless others. I'm talking to myself.
I will say this. I will say this how I understand it conceptually and spiritually. And that is, there's a lot of agents of this system running around in this world that we call psychopaths and sociopaths, and I like to call them vampires. And everything that you just explained, I might not understand all the ins and outs of it, and somebody else might be listening and not understand all the ins and outs of it. But what you were talking about are the very tactics that vampires use to manipulate and control.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's what they want more than anything is control.
That's what they are.
Word spinning.
That's what they are. That's what the
So I think it's something that even if somebody didn't understand every single specificity that you're talking about, and that doesn't mean you don't need to study it. I'm just saying, like, even if you don't be intimidated, because conceptually you can understand the way vampires work, and we have to be very careful of understanding these concepts because the agents of the system you're talking about are everywhere, and they're the agents that enslave people. They're the agents that enslave your mind.
There's cameras everywhere in America.
Resources, destroy communities, and so what you're talking about is everywhere. And so I appreciate bringing that to the
What goes on is that when you give people knowledge of the deceptive language that they have used, the words that you say here, or you were taught to say from school, don't mean the same in court. Normally, when you go to fight a case, you go to fight it in court. When I spoke about maritime admiralty law, that is a law system that comes from England. Okay, when we fought for our freedom back in the days with George Washington and everybody he took in the Revolutionary War, and later on the Constitution in 1789, which was ratified, it says that the people gave a position of confidence to the government to function for us. And if they are to function for us, they are your servants. That's where I'm coming from. The only way they can stop being your servants and empower themselves over you, because police officers and anybody that is out there that they chose a job to work for the government took a step down, because the people are the ones who empower. And when you become a servant, you become on a lower status. Okay? You become on a lower status. They don't want you to know that. They teach you, no, that the policemen are in charge and that whatever the judge says is no. The judge is working in what is called the people's court. So if it's the people's court, it is the people who are in charge. But if you do not catch those little words that they switch and they change so that it will empower them, that's how come you cannot have the services of a lawyer, because the lawyers, in order for them to have their license approved, they swear that they're going to protect the system that comes from England, which the United States of America pushed away a long time ago. As a matter of fact, to make it even more clearer, when you say maritime admiralty law, that means the laws of the sea. Maritime admiralty, an admiral from a boat. That's what those words mean from. And when you say the common law are the laws of the land, and when people are being tricked and they do not understand, because in order for them to empower themselves over you, they take you as merchandise that can be sold in market. When you look at 1930,
that's our whole system. That's any system, any structure that comes from our government. If you play in, you are owned.
Exactly. But the point is, if you recognize and you realize which are your rights, then you can stand up and accordingly, do things accordingly in a federal court if they are bound, which they are, because they swear an oath to protect the Constitution. And if a judge, after swearing an oath, does not protect the Constitution, it'll tear him apart because he's a fraud.
I just want to say, how would the Constitution be different if it was written by the OGs of a hip hop community, of a spiritual community?
I'll tell you this much.
Look better.
What is the most beautiful thing about the Constitution is that it wasn't written by George Washington or anybody or Benjamin Franklin. They were, and this is the, I would say, the deception. People look at them as if they were the great ones. No, the people were the ones who told them, will you put your signature here and you serve me? Okay? They are not the big ones. It was the people. And within those people, there were black people, there were white people, there were Hispanic people of different Indian tribes. Because believe it or not, he himself, what's his name? Benjamin Franklin, the concept of the Constitution was taken from the Iroquois tribe, which was living in upstate New York when they first made it to those lands, and it was populated by Indians. You see, this Iroquois tribe had an empowerment over 5 different other tribes, and they had a constitution that when Benjamin Franklin saw this, he said, hey, let's use this as an idea to create a constitution. So the Indians, the blacks, and the Hispanics were much there on what you call New York or whatever you want to call it in America before the people who came in on Plymouth Rock in the 1700s. We were there first, which makes us just as American as many people. They strive, and especially here in Puerto Rico, there's always political disputes on that they want to be part of a 51st state. They don't know that they're just as American. They're just as American as everybody else, but it's all they've all been tricked in the mind. In the blue and red that they always run, the red team and the blue team, when you spin it very quickly, it creates purple, which was used for mind control and brainwashing since the early times. I could go on, but the whole idea is.
Let me bring this back real quick. Let me
go on because
you
let me bring it back here because we kind of like
you can go on, and at Africa Week 2020, let's create a space where you can go on. Please, all of you, I'm in touch with Joey Zaza. Please, all of you, can you friend me on Facebook?
Oh, yeah,
I will
for sure.
be hibernating for a short period of time, but we really do need to be in touch so we can talk about amplifying this more. Because look, what you're talking about is not unique to the United States. It's this in different versions plays out all over the place. There's going to be people in Kenya and Rwanda and all these other places that are going to go, oh yeah, over here too. We have something.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So maybe another thing we're trying to do is also do regular streaming things in Africa Week 2020. So maybe when you're teaching, maybe you come in every other week and stream whatever it is that you're teaching so that people can see it. This is important. This is part of what we do at Africa Week 2020. So yes, we want you to go on.
That's
but
really dope.
Could we answer one more question about hip hop? Yeah, let's read it and then we'll take the banner down so we can see everybody's faces. Let's come full circle. What is the future revolution of hip hop? Where do we as people take hip hop and the revolution of knowledge you just gave us from here?
Well, it depends. It depends on you. You that are listening to me out there, you that believe in this culture, you could believe in yourself and the oneness that we can have within ourselves. Because if you're into this to divide and pull to your corner, then you become part of the problem.
Yeah.
We are here. It doesn't matter the distance, because you can see how we pretty much got in touch with each other at this moment. It's to have the desire and to make that desire real. We are here. We will share time whenever we are needed. We will show up. We have our personal lives, but we will be around. And we won't let this go, because as an old schooler, this has always been my life. Hip hop saved me from the streets, and I was product from the streets of New York. So I know I've never fell in drugs, but I did not live a happy life, because when I grew up back in those days, where each block had its own gang, and see the organization within hip hop stopped all the gang wars. You had to watch back in the days when you get off one block what color clothing you were wearing, so you wasn't wearing the gang colors that the next gang didn't want you to see with.
Not only you, even your parents, to walk down the streets, you had to fight for your family to walk down the street to go to the store.
Back then, it was really rough. It was really rough, but what we survived it. We are blessed by the Most High to be where we're at right now. And all we want to do is for those who are interested, because we do not push this. This is not that we're trying to tame anybody or anything like that. We wish to bless and pass on the gift that we received, because we are grateful that God has blessed us with all the tools to pass on with. And if you guys are there and you're willing, we'll be around. We'll make it happen.
Definitely.
I think where we're going, where we should be going to save this situation that we're in, marketing and the whole capitalism, it's always going to be there. We got to eat. And I'm not, as we say in the street, I'm not going to shit on somebody for their hustle. You know what I mean? You got to eat. You got to eat. I'd rather you do whatever it is you're doing for your food and feeding your family than leaving those kids without eating. That's where it's going.
But
real. Where we should be, and it could be just a personal thing, but I think we should be pushing more towards creativity. Necessity is the mother of invention, and we need to start pushing forward. And I say that because though it sounds like I'm pushing more for entertainment than education, things are so easy for people nowadays. And how was it that they said at the end of that movie, Dodgeball, Ben Stiller goes, "Oh, don't make me think, just keep me entertained." So since people want to be just entertained, it's the creative people that are going to be able to make it palatable for them. You know what I mean? I think, and look, you go to any ghetto, and at least 4 or 5 kids can tell you 10 different types of guns, 10 different types of SUVs, you know what I mean? Sneakers, the names of sneakers and clothes of designers that they don't know who the hell they are. They'll probably never wear some of that shit, you know? But they can't tell you about bonds. They can't tell you about real estate. You know what I mean? I think it's in the hands of the people that are creative to start pushing and start, I'm going to throw a track and I'm going to teach y'all how to play the stock market. I started in the ghetto. I made my money. I'm out the projects. There's no fucking way you're going to catch me back there. My kids are not going to know that what that lifestyle is. I play the market, bro. I do G's a week. Legal. I don't got to look behind my back every time I pick up a paycheck, dude. You know what I mean? We both walk with plastic. Mine doesn't go bang, bang. Mine goes ching, ching. You know what I'm saying? Teach people the real way, but it's only the creative ones that can get past that entertainment, I don't want to learn barrier that's going to be able to do it. And unless we start bringing back those standards of hip hop, it's good. You have to have skills. It's original. If it's not one of those threes, you need to get off the platform. You need to get off my website. You need to definitely get off my stage. John has known me since I was a teenager, and I have no problem fighting with somebody up on stage so they can get off my microphone.
I understand what you're saying, but the culture vultures, they ain't never going to care if you got skills or not. They're just going to care about that almighty dollar, bro. I always said when hip-hop
I say creativity is key, because those type of people, they're weak. They're fickle. They're weak. And as long as there's 1,000 other people listening to it, 10,000 people come through and put a turd on their forehead. They go, well, shit, man, I want to design a turd on my forehead too. Have no idea why they're doing it.
Yeah.
But they're so afraid of not being accepted by others because, like we were saying before, they don't know themselves that they'll do any stupid shit.
And I think
mental illness
rap right now.
Mental illness.
So I think it's up to the creative ones to bring that back, and that's going to be part of our salvation.
No, that's true.
That's what's
that's how we're going to give the craft back to the youth. We got to be more creative now.
And don't be afraid to laugh at fools. Don't be afraid to see them with 1,000 colors, looking like they got a mouthful of Skittles and stuff like that. And don't be afraid. Fool, get that out of here, man. What you doing? Don't be afraid of doing that, dude. Because every MC had to go through that at least once before they realized what worked on stage and what didn't work on stage.
That's true. That's true.
Yep. People are afraid to be laughed at.
The best place to start is a mistake, bro. Sometimes the best place to start is a mistake. You need to have these kids go out there and start making their mistakes. Not going out there, I got the world by the balls. I know everything. I got the world of information right here. But you know what? You can fill your head up with information all you want. If you don't know how to work with your hands, if you don't know how to manifest, you're not doing anything. The supreme mathematics. One's a knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Knowledge is the experience, wisdom is the teaching, understanding is the manifestation, the fullest manifestation of knowledge. If you can't create, then your knowledge is weak, bro.
I think this is what you were talking about before, Zaza, is you were talking about wisdom, and isn't wisdom knowledge in motion? Isn't that what wisdom is? Somebody else was talking about wisdom. It's it's just like this idle thing. When you have had an experience of knowledge and been in an engagement and have a relationship with knowledge, then wisdom comes forth. Wisdom can come from it. And I think that's what you're touching. That's how I'm receiving. You're touching on when you're talking about.
Yeah, the way it was explained to me, dealing with those three things, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, though all three are very similar, they're also very different. Knowledge is an experience. Here we go. Best one. Fire. Okay, it's fire. It's called fire. But what is it? I have to add knowledge to that knowledge. Oh man, it's hot. Now I got wisdom. I can teach on it. Yo, be careful with the fire. It's hot. But what can I do with fire? That's how civilization started. You see, so understanding is the highest manifestation of knowledge. And until we teach these kids how to get to that third level, which is the understanding, they're just going to be stuck. And I feel like it's our fault by just tolerating them, by being so careful with their happiness and their bubble. Nah, bro. You know what I mean? The wings need to harden before you can leave the nest. You know what I'm saying?
I know what he's trying to say. It's like
that's something that's not being done.
Friends, what are sort of your last thoughts here? And also tell us your names clearly again and where you would like to be found.
Brothers, go ahead, brothers.
Say your names and where would you like to be found?
Right now, my name is Juan Peyot on Facebook and Instagram, just like that. I know they know me as DJ John Wayne, but I have my original name, Juan Peyot, for now, until I could get my stuff out there the way it's supposed to be.
Tony.
I'm Tony Smith, and I'm not lost to be found.
All right. That's what's up.
J Dilla Foundation.
Okay, and I'm Zulu King Master Rolski. I'm normally off grid. I fly on the radar, but if anyone really wants to hear what I spoke about and want to get educated, I do not hide from anyone.
All right.
I will show up and I will make it my business to drop all the jewels that you can need. And trust me, those of you who are then mentally free from this mental tyranny that they have and all of this mental torture that they have against people to intimidate you and not let you step up to the, where you have to go, to the plate and make your life real. If you want that, you'll receive it, and I'm willing to give it out. Just take out time to set yourself free. That's all that matters to me.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
My name is Joey Zaza, also known as El Cacique, the chief of the tribe, the chieftain.
All right.
I want to thank Dima. I want to thank Alexandra. I want to thank everybody at Africa Week 2020. It's been an extreme motivation. For those who've been watching since day one, I've been in and out. I haven't been as involved as I am now. But like it says right over, where is it? Right over here, El Cacique, the chief of the tribe. The chief is only as good. The chief of the tribe is only as good as his tribe.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? And I wanted everybody to meet my tribe and see just how powerful my tribe is. And I consider each and every one of you, the ones in the panel, the ones in the chat, the ones that'll see us later, the one that'll hear about us from someone else, you're part of the tribe. Fucking get with it.
That's what's
Get
up.
with it.
That's what's up.
Get with it. I'm all about the walk, not the talk, bro. I may be a lyricist, but we need to get those dogs dirty. We need to walk, yo.
All right.
Alexandra, thank you. And Dima, when you see this, I told you I was gonna unleash the dogs of revolution.
And we still got some more dogs out there, so don't even trip. We still got dogs out there.
The phone call I get after she sees this.
Be like Puerto Rico beach dogs. We all out there.
Yo, thank you so much for the opportunity, man. And salute to you and what you're doing.
Blessings to all of you. This is the perfect way to end our 7-day journey together.
Yes, sir.
7
yes, sir. Let's clap for that. Yes, sir.
Our reunion for now is on hold until we come back. I look forward to the rest, and I also look forward to all the fruits starting to bloom, all the flowers starting to bloom from all these discussions and conversations and all the beautiful souls we met, and how it travels out into the world from you all talking to each other, from you all sharing with each other, and wow, the love. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brothers, I may not be on the island, but you know I love y'all. You know I love y'all.
Baby.
My brothers, you know that.
And Mano, you're ready.
Y'all. That's my
love
twin
you too,
right
bro.
there.
All right.
Out, man.
All right.
Alexandra, thank you.
Yo, thanks again, man. Thanks again. Peace, yo.
Next time.
Peace.
That was up.